Chapter 1548. This time, it was not Sima Ji Yuan who received the item, but Sima Hishan. After he read the training method, his expression changed again and again. "Why, isn't this good?" Sima Ji Yuan asked. "No, it's fine. With this, I think their combat strength will definitely skyrocket." Sima Hishan put away the training method and added in his heart, "This method is good, but those people in the family will have to suffer." Ling Yu said that although this method is a little bitter, but if used well, you will see results in 1 or 2 years. When Sima Yu saw this training method, she couldn't help but twitch the corner of her mouth. We'll start preparing after the meeting ends," Sima Hishan said. Although this method was a little cruel, the results of the training would definitely be very good. If Wu Lingyu were here, she would definitely give him a look of disdain. This was the method that the Devil Realm used to train soldiers. Of course, it would be effective. Also, if the Sima family really wants to rise, the economy can't fall behind. In the future, when we become stronger, we will need to spend more money. If we let this drag down our rise, we can only cry. Sima Yue said, "We're also considering that. Now that we have the pill formulas that you have given us, we will first start with pills, then slowly develop other industries." Sima Ji Yuan and the others had also considered the issue of finances. Young Miss is really thoughtful about this. Someone praised. "I heard that little Miss is the Vice Valley Lord of the #1 Valley. There is no need to doubt her abilities." Sima Hishan and the rest had an idea, but before they could speak, Sima Yue spoke first. "I'm just talking. I don't care about anything in the valley." "All right, great-grandfather. I've said everything I can. Uncle He is still waiting for me, so I'll go first." How could Sima Ji Yuan not know that she wanted to escape, but now that she didn't want to manage the family's affairs, how could he go against her wishes and let her go with a wave of his hand? After she left, someone sighed, "If we hand the clan over to the young miss, I think we could go to a higher level. This girl's heart isn't on this. She would definitely be unhappy if she had to do all this. Moreover, she has given us so many things. If the clan is still not revitalized, we don't have to go see our ancestors." Sima Hishan sighed. The great elder sighed in his heart. When he first saw Sima Yue in the Immortal Land, she was still an insignificant existence. However, at that time, he knew that the revival of the family depended on her. Sima Yue left the Sima family and went directly to He Zhenjiang's inn. He Zhenjiang was stunned when he saw the group of people behind Sima Yue. "Great-grandfather said that I'm too weak and I need someone to protect me before I can go out," Sima Yue explained. He Zhenjiang glanced at Sima Yue. Yes, she was indeed not strong. "Let's go." Normally, a young lady would bring dozens of bodyguards with her when she went out. Sima Yue only brought 20 to 30 bodyguards with her, which was not considered a lot. Actually, even Sima Yue did not know that these were just bodyguards on the surface. Sima Ji Yuan had even sent people to protect her in the dark. Teleportation arrays, spatial ships, teleportation arrays again. After more than a month, they finally arrived at Lucky City, where the Yang family was located. Let's find an inn to stay in. There was still some time before the great or meeting, so there was still plenty of room in the inn. The chosen inn that was not far from the Yang family, but it was not very crowded. Sima Yue chose a room where they could see the Yang family's residence when they opened the window. "Young Miss, the Yang family's residence is really spectacular." Enlei opened the window and sighed as she looked at the Yang family's residence. The Yang family is considered a first-rate power in the inner regions. They have been around for a long time. Naturally, it is not something that the Sima family can compare to. Sima Yue said. However, this Yang family can't be compared to the hidden families, right? Why are you still so emotional? The Eastern Life family actually does not pay much attention to these things. They are all scattered and do not gather together on such a large scale. Enlei said. At this moment, when she talked about the Eastern Life family, she was no longer as emotional as before. "I was too busy before and did not have time to ask you properly. Enlei, what are the hidden families like?" Actually, they're similar to these families. It's just that the places where they live are more secretive. Some even live in small realms, so they're not known to the world. But from what I see, It's just that their background is slightly deeper than the average family. And Lei said, this was similar to what Sima Yue thought. After that, she asked a few more questions about the Eastern Lai family, and Enlei told her everything she knew. But she did not know anything about the core matters. Forget it. If you know too much about the Eastern Lai family's secrets, they will not be at ease letting you leave. Sima Yue was not discouraged. She understood a lot more about the hidden families from the information she got today. Miss, if you interfere in this matter, will it delay young Master Yi's matter? And Lei knew the importance of the miracle medicine to Sima Yue and was a little worried. No matter what happens, it will not stop me from going to the Xianxiu family. Sima Yue was not worried. With Xianxiu, He's ability, even if she was not in the Sima family, he would still be able to find her. And Lei was not afraid that Xianxiu, he would not be able to find Sima Yue. She was just afraid that Sima Yue would not be able to leave when the time came. But since Sima Yue said so, it meant that she had thought it through. I don't know why the undead matter has developed to such a serious extent. Sima Yue put down the book in her hand. Her gaze darkened as she thought about the news she saw earlier. In the past, they were still very careful and killed in small areas. Now that they dare to do something like massacring the entire city, it means that they're very confident now. Miss, it has only been 3 years. How did they develop so quickly? It's hard to nurture a person, but it doesn't take so much time to nurture an undead, Sima Yue scoffed coldly. If a person wanted to become an expert, he would have to spend hundreds or thousands of years. But to become an undead, he only needed to kill those experts. Hence, the speed was naturally very fast. In just over 10 years, those people did not have to worry about anything. She had been in the inner region for 5 to 6 years. Before that, Su Lunyan had been in a coma for 5 to 6 years. Counting them, it was only over 10 years. Back then, they had to be careful. Now, they were lawless. Miss, we're not on good terms with the Yang family. It's best that you don't show yourself. And Lei reminded, who knows what they will do to you if they know that you are here? Sima Yue nodded. You are right. Before their meeting, I will disguise myself and go out. When your meeting comes, they won't dare to do anything to me so brazenly. Chapter 1549. Seeing Sima Yue's change in appearance, He Xinjiang and the others were surprised. They knew that she had a grudge against the Yang family, so they thought it was better to do this. Unfortunately, the Yang clan was still more cautious towards their own clan. They had stayed here for more than a month, but they did not find out the relationship between the Yang clan and the undead. Over the past few days, the people who were going to participate in the Great or Convention had arrived one after another. On the streets of Ji City, there were many people from other factions. Sima Yue and Enlei were walking on streets. Little Lucky was hanging on her shoulder and swaying back and forth. He was very curious about the things around him. Miss, you won't be targeted if you bring Xiaoxi out, right? Enlei was a little worried. What can we do? This little fella really can't hold it in any longer. Sima Yue was also helpless. Little Lucky was simply unwilling to stay in the Spirit Pagoda. It'll be troublesome if people find out about its identity, Enlei said worriedly. That won't happen. Sima Yue had previously instructed Qi Yin to teach Little Lucky how to restrain his aura. Therefore, as long as he didn't lose control of himself in anger, no one would be able to detect his ancient aura. As for how it looked like Supreme, Fifth Spirit Senior, other than the people she took away that day, no one else knew. As for them, they knew how powerful Supreme, Fifth Spirit Senior was. Thus, they did not dare to attack Little Lucky. However, even if Xiaoxi's identity as an ancient spiritual beast would not be exposed, it would still attract a lot of trouble. Sima Yue looked at the woman in front of her and asked expressionlessly, "What's the matter?" The woman in front of him was dressed in a bright red dress and wore a bracelet on her hand. There were several bells hanging from the bracelet, and every time she raised her hand, there would be a clear ringing sound. She was originally a beauty, but the arrogance on her face ruined her beauty. Dan Yushi looked at Xiaoxi, who was perched on Sima Yue's shoulder, and said, "Miss, this little fellow is so cute. Can you sell him to me?" I'm sorry, it's not for sale. Sima Yue wanted to walk around her, but the other party also took a step to the side. You don't have a contract with this spirit beast, so you won't lose anything by selling it to me. I'll give you 500,000 high-grade crystals. Dan Yushi said. Because Little Lucky had restrained his aura, he had also concealed his strength. Therefore, to outsiders, Little Lucky was just a pet. Since it was a pet, 100,000 high-grade crystals were considered expensive, let alone 500,000. In the eyes of the onlookers, Sima Yue had gotten a great bargain. No, Sima Yue did not expect to encounter such a situation. Well, to be exact, it was a matter of snatching spirit beasts. You can't? Dan Yushi thought that Sima Yue would be happy to hear her offer, but she refused. Yes, I will sell my spirit beast. Miss, please step aside. Sima Yue said calmly. You actually rejected my request? Do you know who I am? Dan Yushi was stunned for a moment, then asked with a cold face. I don't know. Sima Yue said honestly. Dan Yushi originally wanted to wait for Sima Yue to reveal her identity. Then she would generously say that she only wanted her spirit beast. She did not expect her to directly say that she did not know. You really don't know? Am I supposed to know? Sima Yue took a step back and sized Dan Yushi up again. She shook her head and said, I really don't know. Dan Yushi's expression changed again and again. The servant girl at the side pointed at Sima Yue's nose and said, My lady is the cousin of the Yang family. My lady is the daughter of the third branch of the Yang family. Oh, so you are the cousin of the Yang family. I know now, Sima Yue said solemnly, but everyone could tell that she did not know who Sima Yue was. Since you know, why don't you obediently hand over your spirit beast? The servant girl raised her chin and put her hands on her waist. She was very arrogant, as if this was a gift to Sima Yue. Ah, Xiaoxi is mine. Are you trying to force a deal? Sima Yue hugged Xiaoxi. You have not contracted this spirit beast. How can you prove that it is yours? Dan Yushi said, This is clearly my lost spirit beast. You picked it up and did not return it to me. Now that I am willing to buy it back for 500,000, you are actually unwilling? Dan Yushi's voice was very loud, and the people around looked over. Those who knew Dan Yushi looked at Sima Yue with sympathy. However, those who came from outside and did not know Dan Yushi, when they heard what she said, they felt that Sima Yue was too much. Sima Yue was not interested in this kind of arrogant lady. Since she knew that the Yang family was involved with the undead, she did not intend to give face to the Yang family. I have seen shameless people, but I have never seen someone as shameless as you. She laughed. Those who knew her well would know that every time she laughed, it meant that someone was going to be unlucky. You dare to scold my family's young miss? The servant girl shouted. Since you say that this little fella is yours, then you can take it. Sima Yue said as she pulled Xiaoxi, whose shoulder was injured, and threw it at Dan Yushi. Since this was a spirit beast problem, then the spirit beast should solve it himself. Dan Yushi saw that Sima Yue gave in so easily and was very happy. She did not even think as she caught Xiaoxi. When Xiaoxi was in Dan Yushi's arms and smelled the strong fragrance on her body, it was extremely disgusted. It wanted to break free, but it did not use spiritual energy. Moreover, Dan Yushi was a body cultivator, so it was unable to break free. Since I have already given this spirit beast to you, don't bother me anymore. Sima Yue said and turned to leave. When Xiaoxi saw that Sima Yue was about to leave, it panicked. It used all its strength to break free from her arms and ran towards Sima Yue. However, when it was about to leave, it slapped Dan Yushi's face, smashing half of her face. Everyone was stunned by this unforeseen event. The spirit beast that was obediently hanging on Sima Yue's shoulder had smashed the face of a body cultivator. This person was the young miss of the Dan family, a famous tyrant in the 16th state. Ah! Dan Yushi's servant girl screamed. When she saw Dan Yushi on the ground, she was stunned and did not know what to do. Everyone regained their senses from her screams and looked in the direction that Sima Yue left, but she was no longer there. In a nearby tea house, in a private room on the second floor, two people were sitting opposite each other. That feeling just now wasn't wrong, right? It was indeed the aura of an ancient spirit beast. This means that someone has already obtained an ancient spirit beast. But there is no contract. How can the current beast tamers tame an ancient spirit beast? Unless the spirit beast recognizes an owner. How can there be a contract? However, how could those ancient spirit beasts recognize an owner of their own accord? Actually, those large clans had ways to tame ancient spirit beasts. However, these were all unconventional methods and were not true taming. Chapter 1550. Dan Yushi was brought back to the Yang family. The moment she entered the Yang family, she sent someone to check on Sima Yue. Sima Yue did not transform when she went out this time. With the power of the Yang family, even if it was just a small branch, it would be easy to find her in Cord City. However, this news was not immediately sent to Dan Yushi because the Yang family had previously instructed that as long as it was related to the He family, it must be reported to the upper management first. Family head, this He Zhang has been investigating us. Is this Sima Yue purposely released by him to cause trouble, so that we can take the initiative to get in touch with him? An elder guest. Yang Wei had a deep impression of Sima Yue. He knew that she was not someone with a simple background and had a good relationship with those hidden families. Furthermore, he had heard that she had left the ancient mining area under the nose of the ancient spirit beast. Perhaps she had some connection with the ancient spirit beast. Master, since Sima Yue is with He Zhang, should we take this opportunity to get rid of them? There's no rush. Yang Wei stopped him. He Zhang is already investigating the corpses. The greater meeting is about to start. If this matter gets out, it will hinder our plan. This matter is over. Yes. Since the patriarch had already said so, they naturally would not pursue this matter any further. Besides, the Shan family was just a subordinate of the Yang family. There was no need to give them any face. In her own courtyard, Dan Yushi heard that even if her face recovered, it would collapse a little in the future. In other words, her face was completely ruined. She was so angry that she trembled. She wanted to catch Sima Yue and cut her into pieces. Therefore, when the Yang family's guards came to inform her of the Yang family's intentions, she was so angry that she smashed all the furnishings in the house. Sima Yue initially thought that the Yang family would find trouble with her, but after waiting for a few days, there was still no news. The Yang family probably suppressed it. She guessed. Why? Judging from Dan Yushi's appearance that day, she should be a very arrogant person. Such a person wouldn't let things go so easily. Enlade didn't understand. Although they've borrowed the Yang family's power all these years, the great meeting is about to begin. They're afraid that we'll expose the matter of the undead. Sima Yue said, "It doesn't matter whether we have evidence or not. The issue of the undead has been blown out of proportion all these years. If others know about it, it will only be bad for them. Young miss, I feel that the Yang family is probably planning something bad by holding this great meeting at this time." Enlade said, "Uncle, he has also guessed this, but he hasn't grasped the direct connection between the Yang family and the undead. It's not good to risk the He family. If there was no evidence, no one would believe the He clan's words, and it might even lead to the Yang clan's revenge. The Yang clan was much stronger than the He clan, so He Zhang didn't dare to act recklessly. Miss, do you think they will turn Yang Shi into a corpse?" Enlade had heard Sima Yue mention Yang Shi's matter after she came to G City. "They won't." Sima Yue shook her head. "We've seen these corpses before. Although they might not have all 4 limbs, most of their teeth are still intact. Back then, Yang Shi and the others were dismembered by the spirit beasts. So how could they still be turned into corpses? Moreover, these corpses have to be disposed of not long after they die. Yang Shi and the others were only found a few days later. It's already not bad to be able to find their bones. It's impossible to refine them into corpses. If I were Wei Xiuzhu, I wouldn't want to refine her into a corpse." And Lei lamented. "Oh, why? A walking corpse will be very painful." "Perhaps." Sima Yue laughed. "It's a pity that we can't use the scarlet bees to scout for information this time. It'll probably be difficult to find anything. Previously, she wanted to use the scarlet bees to scout for information, but the undead were very sensitive to life force. Although there were no spirit energy waves, they still discovered it and killed the scarlet bees that were sent out. In order to make them think that it was a coincidence, she didn't send out any more scarlet bees. At this moment, Su Lun Yin came over and knocked on her door. Uncle He, Aunt He, why are you here? Su Lun Yin and He Zhenzhong entered the room. Su Lun Yin was a little embarrassed and said, Yue, I have something to tell you. It was the first time Sima Yue saw Su Lun Yin like this. She asked curiously, Please speak, Aunt He. We want you to participate in the great or meeting. He Zhenzhong said, But if you do, you might be targeted by others. Did the investigation of the undead not go smoothly? Sima Yue asked. He Zhenzhong and Su Lun Yin nodded. Sima Yue was a little hesitant. The ors that were allowed to participate in the great or meeting had to be selected. But if it was too good, it would attract attention to the clan. We know that this is very dangerous, but we don't have any good ors. He Zhenzhong said. Sima Yue thought about it and said, Uncle He, if I participate in the great or meeting, it will implicate the clan. But I can give you an or for you to participate. When He Zhenzhong heard the first part, he was a little disappointed. But when he heard the second part, he was a little surprised. That's fine too. He nodded. As long as you can enter the Yang clan. Sima Yue thought about it and took out an ancient ur. It was the size of a watermelon. There shouldn't be any ancient spirit beasts in it. I got this from the ancient mine. You should be able to enter the Yang clan with it. He Zhenzhong didn't stand on ceremony. He took the ore and said, After the greater meeting, I will give you the item. Okay, today is the last day of registration. I will go and register first. After He Zhenzhong finished speaking, he took the ore and left. Sima Yue saw that Su Lun Yin wasn't with him. She asked, Aunt He, what's the matter? It's that nephew of mine. He heard that you're here too. He wants to see you to express his gratitude. Su Lun Yin said. Sima Yue wanted to go to Wuling Yu. Before she left, she reminded her repeatedly and evaded. Aunt He, if you want to thank someone, you should thank my master. I didn't do anything. I just offended Miss Biao from the Yang clan. It's better for me to stay in the inn at this time. If something happens when I go out and ruin Uncle He's plans, it won't be good. How could Su Lun Yin not understand her meaning? Since she didn't want to see her, then forget it. Su Yu knew that Sima Yue didn't want to see her. She was a little disappointed, but she couldn't say anything. If you want to talk to her, she will be with us during the great or meeting. I understand, Aunt. Now, they could only wait for the great or meeting. Chapter 1551. 3 days later, the or meeting was held as promised. Sima Yue followed He Zhenzhong and the others to the open-air plaza where the meeting was held early in the morning. After verifying that the ore was indeed the one that was registered that day, she let them in. After Sima Yue entered, she saw that there were already a lot of people in the plaza. She estimated that there were at least tens of thousands of people participating in this meeting. I think I can broaden my horizons this time. If Third Rascal participates, thinking of Third M.O., who she had not contacted for many years, she was a little worried. This guy couldn't have gone to some dangerous place again, right? When He Zhenzhong and the others arrived at the designated location, Sima Yue left with Enlay, preparing to take a look at the ores that had already been displayed. Miss Yue. Sima Yue turned around and saw Su Yu with 2 guards. Young Master Su, you're also here to participate in the ore meeting. She greeted with a smile. I heard that the winner of this meeting will obtain an ancient spirit beast, so we came to participate. Su Yu replied. Sima Yue nodded. She had also heard that the winner's prize this time was 3 ancient spirit beast stone statues, which was why so many forces were attracted to participate. How's the spirit beast from last time? She thought of the ancient spirit beast that had caused trouble for the Su family. It has already been tamed and contracted, so you did not avoid the topic. If Sima Yue had any ideas, she would have already implemented them in the mining area. Sima Yue did not ask how they tamed it. She only said that it was fine as long as it was contracted. This way, Others would not be able to have any ideas about it. If the contractor died, the spirit beast would naturally die as well. I'm going to take a look at those ores, so I won't disturb young Master Su. Sima Yue bowed to Su Yu and left with Lei. Su Yu looked at her back as she left, his eyes darkening. Young Master, this Sima Yue is really arrogant. The guard behind Su Yu said. Su Yu turned around and glared at him, berating, "You've been flattered too much. You feel uncomfortable when you see someone not flattering you? She's my savior. If you say that again, then scram." Young Master, I was wrong. This guard was assigned to him by his family after he returned from the ancient mines. He wasn't close to him. Sima Yue also heard the small interlude at the back, but she didn't care. She brought in Lei and Little Seven, with Little Lucky on her shoulder and Little Gold on her wrist, to the various stalls to look for ores. Every stall had in or marked with a number. These were the ores that would be participating in the competition. Next to this were some other ores, which were for sale. Those who came to participate in these meetings basically brought along seeker spirit masters. When they saw the ores they wanted, they would bid for them. However, she found that most of the people wanted to exchange things, not to sell them for money. Thinking about it, if they wanted to sell it for a high price, why would they sell it in a place where ores were flying everywhere? It would be more profitable to sell in a shop. She wandered around the stalls one by one and found that quite a few forces were taking out primordial ores. He didn't expect there to be so many survivors from that incident. Actually, he had to thank that massacre. Because of that incident, those who lived far away from the mine had fled. Some of them had stayed there for more than half a year. That time, they managed to escape with their lives. She walked around, but didn't find any ores that were worth her attention, so she returned to He Zhenjiang's stall. When she returned, she found that more than half of the people He Zhenjiang brought had left. "Uncle He, I don't think the Yang clan will let us investigate them at this time," Sima Yue said softly. "I'll let them take a look. If they can't do it, they'll come back." He Zhenjiang said. This plaza was connected to one of the Yang clan's houses. It wasn't easy for them to enter, so they naturally had to enter the Yang clan to take a look. Sima Yue felt that this was a little risky, but the Yang clan had been very restrained recently. They also didn't have any concrete evidence, so they could only do this. How are we going to compete in this competition? Because she didn't plan to participate, she didn't even know the process of the competition. It's actually very simple. Do you see that high platform? Su Lunyan pointed to the high platform at the side. All the ores that are participating have been marked. According to the order of the numbers, they will be brought to the high platform to be opened. Whoever has a higher value will be appraised and ranked according to the price. Won't it take a long time? A few more powers will go up at once. It won't take more than a few days. He Zhenjiang said. "Oh, then when it's time to open the ores, let's go take a look." Sima Yue was still very interested in opening the ores. After the powers that were participating in the competition entered, the competition officially started. Just like what Su Lunyan said, the participants were called to the high platform to open the ores. Many people gathered below the high platform and focused their attention on the ores to see how good the items were. The ores that were participating in the competition were not of low grades. The items that were opened were also not bad. Even Sima Yue was envious of some of the items, but she was despised by Little Spirit. Sima Yue didn't feel embarrassed. Everyone liked treasures. After the people on the high platform opened the ores, they brought the items to the judges to appraise. These were all people of virtue and prestige. The prices that they gave were also more reasonable. After the registration was done, those people took the items and left. One went down and one went up. There were always 50 Seeker Spirit Masters on the high platform opening the ores. As the items that were opened were all treasures, the people below didn't feel bored. The high platform was always filled with people. Sima Yue was quite interested in the beginning. However, after looking for a few days and not seeing any treasures, she lost interest. However, Lei and Little Seven were always paying attention. From time to time, they would tell Sima Yue about the treasures that were opened. Thus, she knew that quite a few ancient spiritual medicines had been found this time. Moreover, they were all extinct now. He Zhenjiang registered late. When he went to open the oars, it was already the last day of the competition. After so many days, the people in the plaza didn't leave. Zhang also brought along a seeker spirit master. Sima Yue watched below and didn't open the oars personally. The final result was as she expected. An immemorial elixir was opened from the oars. This isn't an ordinary elixir. It's a saint elixir. An old man saw the elixir and became excited. It's actually a saint elixir. Really? I didn't expect that we would be able to see a saint elixir in our lifetime. A saint elixir is close to a divine elixir. There was an uproar below the high platform. Many people were excited. Sima Yue looked at the excited gazes around her and sighed helplessly. She just casually took out an or. How did it become a saint elixir? Many people stared at the saint elixir with different expressions. They were probably thinking about it. Chapter 1552. Zhang and Su Lunyan's faces darkened when they saw the sacred medicine. They did not expect that the oars Sima Yue had given them would be so good that they could obtain a saint medicine that was only second to a godly medicine. They would definitely be happy for Sima Yue if they got such a good item in private, but now it brought them trouble. This item was now under their names. Now, it was likely that many clans had shifted their target to the He clan. Uncle He, didn't you say that if we found something good, we would auction it off? Now that there's a saint medicine, do you still want to auction it? Zhang was shocked when he heard Sima Yue's words. They had never said anything like that before. Wasn't she saying that she wanted to sell this sacred medicine? They had brought quite a number of people with them, but it would not be easy for them to escape from so many forces. Selling the sacred medicine was to size up the situation. It could protect his own safety and also prevent those people from having designs on the He clan. But that was a saintly medicine. How could she bear to part with it? To be able to resist the temptation of treasures at such a young age, this kind of temperament was very rare. However, what moved him and Su Lunyan was her heart towards them. This holy medicine was under the name of the He clan. When this matter was over, they would definitely return the holy medicine to her. This way, she wouldn't be targeted by others after obtaining the holy medicine. It could be said that she had sold the saintly medicine for them. He looked at Sima Yue's little face and was extremely touched. He stared at her in a daze. In the eyes of others, he was unwilling to sell the sacred medicine and was angry at Sima Yue for talking too much. Thus, someone asked, "Patriarchy, is what this little girl said true? Are you really going to sell this sacred medicine?" His tone was very urgent. He was afraid that Zhang would say something negative. Zhang came back to his senses and nodded. "That's what I said before. Patriarchy, since you have such a plan, why don't you sell it to me? Patriarchy, please sell it to me. Patriarchy, how much are you selling this holy medicine?" Zhang was getting a headache from their quarrel. Su Lunyan smiled and said, "Old master, we are still in the great or convention. Let's talk about selling the sacred herbs after this is over." Since they had already said that they wanted to sell this sacred medicine, those people would not have any thoughts of snatching it. "Uncle He, since so many people want this sacred medicine, you can't just sell it to anyone, right?" Sima Yue said. "Do you have any ideas?" This was her thing, so naturally she had to make the final decision. "I feel that all the uncles want this saintly medicine, so it wouldn't be good for you to sell it to anyone, right? Why don't I hand this sacred medicine over to the Xian Yuan Pavilion and ask them to auction it on my behalf? It's fair to whoever gets the sacred medicine in the end," Sima Yue suggested. Zhang's eyes lit up. This wasn't a bad idea. Not only would he be able to sell the item, but he wouldn't cause any dissatisfaction from the other forces. "And when the convention is over, we'll send the sacred medicine over." He nodded, giving a message to the people around him. "If you want the sacred medicine, go to the auction yourself." In the past, very few people would bring their items to the auction house after opening it. They would either keep it for themselves or auction it on the spot. Therefore, after opening something good, no one thought of selling it to the auction house. There was another reason. Normally, only 1 or 2 items would be opened. If there were so few items, the auction house wouldn't hold a separate auction. This time, with Sima Yue taking the lead, there would definitely be many people who would bring their items to the auction house. Furthermore, just the sacred medicine alone was worth the auction house holding an auction. Not to mention, Sima Yue still had the token that Old Man June had given her back then. When everyone heard that they were going to put the item in the Xian Yuan Pavilion, they stopped trying to persuade them. If they were to sell it at the auction house, they would definitely be able to get a higher price. Naturally, they wouldn't buy it here. Furthermore, they had time to gather the money, so they had more confidence in competing for this sacred medicine. When a few people who had opened the item heard this, they all had the same thought. If they could bring it to the Xian Yuan Pavilion to sell, they wouldn't be in a hurry to sell it now. When the value of the treasure didn't match the strength of the owner, even if they had it, they could only give it away. As for those powerful clans, the treasures that they obtained might not necessarily be what they liked. Now that they heard that those people were going to the auction house, they might be able to get what they wanted. Therefore, there were many people who had this thought. After the last person had opened the stone, the person in charge of the auction came up to the stage. He cupped his hands towards the crowd and said, "The results have already been recorded. However, because there's a lot of data, we still have to estimate the final value from many aspects. Therefore, the results will only be out in 2 days. Tomorrow, our family head has prepared a banquet for everyone. I hope that everyone can attend." After the auction ended, the people in the square gradually dispersed. However, many people directly went to the Xian Yuan Pavilion. When Sima Yue and the rest arrived at the Xian Yuan Pavilion, many people had already handed their items to the Xian Yuan Pavilion. The people in the Xian Yuan Pavilion had already received the news. Therefore, they weren't surprised when they saw these people. However, they were overjoyed. This was equivalent to giving them free money. When the waiter saw Sima Yue and the rest coming in, he welcomed them with a smile and asked, "Dear guests, are you here to buy something?" Sima Yue shook her head. The waiter immediately reacted and asked, "Are you here to auction something too?" Sima Yue took out her token and said that she wanted to see their manager. When the waiter saw the token, he became even more respectful. This token was only given to Sima Yue. He immediately understood her identity. "Miss Yue, the manager is behind. Please follow me." He directly brought them to the manager. When the manager heard that Sima Yue was here, he immediately welcomed her in. When he found out that the sacred medicine was hers, he was extremely surprised. "Miss Yue, are you planning to auction the sacred medicine?" At first, he thought that Sima Yue was crazy. How could she sell such a good thing? However, he immediately realized that the sacred medicine would definitely bring danger to her if she kept it. "Miss Yue, if you are worried about the safety of the sacred medicine, we can send it back to your residence." With the Xian Yuan Pavilion sending it, the sacred medicine would definitely reach the Sima family safely. "No need. Since you said that you want to auction it, then let's auction it." It wasn't that Sima Yue didn't like the sacred medicine. However, it was too eye-catching to be opened in public. Even if it was sent back to her family, it would bring danger to her family. When a manager saw that Sima Yue was insistent, he didn't try to persuade her anymore. Every Xian Yuan Pavilion had their own assessment targets. If they could auction off the sacred medicine, then they would definitely pass the assessment this time. "We will definitely bid for the sacred medicine at a satisfactory price for you. Then I will have to trouble you." Sima Yue didn't stand on ceremony. When Yang Wei found out that Sima Yue and many others had sent the sacred medicine to the Xian Yuan Pavilion, he was so angry that he threw the cup in his hand. Chapter 1553. Silence reigned in the meeting hall. This Sima Yue. Yang Wei gritted his teeth. Veins popped out on his forehead. It was clear how angry he was. If she hadn't suggested that he Zhang give the sacred medicine to the Xian Yuan Pavilion, the others wouldn't have followed suit. If I had known earlier, I would have gotten rid of her a few days ago. An elder said, "It's useless to say that now. Patriarch, we should think of a way to get those things." Another elder was more rational. "We can't go head-to-head with the Xian Yuan Pavilion. He can only spend money to bid for it. No matter what price I have to pay, I have to get my hands on those ancient-era spirit herbs." When Yang Wei thought about how much money he had to spend, his heart ached. Fortunately, the higher-ups would give them some support. Otherwise, with their financial resources, they might not be able to win the bid. Patriarch, it's best to separate them. If those people know that the things have fallen into our hands, I'm afraid it will cause unnecessary trouble. Yes, we'll split into a few groups. Each group will be responsible for one type of spirit herb. After 2 days, the Xianyuan Pavilion would bring the auction list over, and then they would work out a detailed plan. After this is over, we must kill Sima Yue. Yes, Patriarch. Sima Yue did not know that she had been blacklisted by the Yang family. Even if she knew, she wouldn't care. In any case, ever since she met Yang Shi, it was impossible for her to be on good terms with them. The steward of the Xianyuan Pavilion carefully put away the sacred medicine. Together with Sima Yue, he personally sent the sacred medicine to the secret room. Then, he said, "Miss Yue, we plan to hold the auction in half a year. What do you think? Do I have to wait that long?" The more time passes, the more people will know about the sacred medicine. When the time comes, there will be more people participating in the auction, and this sacred medicine will be able to fetch a higher price. The manager was very considerate towards Sima Yue. Will there be any problems after leaving it there for so long? Sima Yue was worried. If it was someone else who questioned Xianyuan Pavilion, the steward would have left immediately. However, in front of Sima Yue, he didn't even dare to show any displeasure. "Don't worry, the item is in the Xianyuan Pavilion. It's absolutely safe. That secret room, just now, even a high-level honorable realm expert wouldn't be able to break it. Not to mention, we have an expert guarding it," the manager said. What he didn't say was that in the primordial lands, no one dared to have designs on the Xianyuan Pavilion. Sima Yue knew that Xianyuan Pavilion was related to Feng people. When she thought of Feng Ruyin, she also believed that no one would dare to have any ideas about Xianyuan Pavilion. Then let's do it half a year later. I'll come back in half a year. If he could earn more money, it didn't matter if he delayed a little. 2 days later, I will send over the list of participants for this auction. If Miss is interested in anything, we can keep an eye out for you. Then I'll have to trouble you. Sima Yue then told him where she was staying before leaving with He Zhenjiang and the others. On the way back, Su Lunyan tried to hold it in, but was eventually defeated by her own curiosity. "Yue, are you also from the Xianyuan Pavilion?" Sima Yue shook her head. "It was just a coincidence that I treated a very important person. After that, they gave me the token. Speaking of which, this thing is really useful. Everywhere I go, the managers are all respectful. With the Xianyuan Pavilion, you'll be much safer wherever you go. And with them arranging for you, this sacred medicine will definitely be auctioned for a good price." Su Lunyan said, "It's a pity. If only you could keep it for yourself. Speaking of which, it's also our fault. If we didn't borrow the ore from you, you could have kept this sacred medicine." He Zhenjiang said guiltily. Although this sacred medicine could be auctioned for a sky-high price, this was a sacred medicine from the primordial era. No amount of money could buy it. I like money. I can buy many other useful things. Sima Yue didn't mind. Anyway, she had more than one sacred medicine. At this moment, in the Spirit Pagoda's collection pavilion, there were still 3 sacred medicines. They were all obtained when she was resting for the past few years. It had to be said that little gold was definitely in primordial treasure detector. None of the ores that it let Sima Yue pick were white stones. Every single one of them could be obtained. The first time she obtained a sacred medicine, she was excited for a long time. The second time she obtained one, she was much calmer. The third time she obtained a sacred medicine, she wasn't surprised at all. And she saw that the sacred medicine that was obtained this time wasn't as good as the 3 in the Spirit Pagoda, so she wasn't reluctant to part with it. He Zhenjiang and Su Lunyan saw that Sima Yue was very calm after obtaining the sacred medicine. She wasn't reluctant to part with it at all. The two of them sighed in their hearts at her good attitude. Sima Yue could tell what they were thinking, but she didn't say anything. She couldn't tell them that she still had the sacred medicine, so she didn't care about it. When the surrounding people saw them coming out of Xianyuan Pavilion, they knew that they were really going to auction the sacred medicine, so they gave up on tailing them. The 3 of them returned to the inn. When He Zhenjiang opened the door, he saw a person covered in blood. Sima Yue was about to return to her room, but when she smelled the blood in the room, she looked over. Old master, we were ambushed. The people who went are all dead. After that person finished speaking, he fell into a deep sleep. He Zhang and Su Lunyan's faces were very ugly. The people they sent were all experts among experts, but they were all dead. The Yang clan must have guessed that someone would take the opportunity to go to their clan, so they ambushed us in advance. Sima Yue said. He Zhang also thought of this when he gave him the pill. Old master, we have to hide him first. If the Yang clan finds us here, we'll be in trouble. Su Lu Nian reminded. He Zhang took out a small pearl. After injecting spiritual energy, a door to a small realm appeared in the room. He bent down to carry the guard and brought him in. Soon after, he came out again. Sima Yue didn't expect him to have a small realm. No wonder she felt that she had never seen the people who followed her to the auction. She thought that they came later on. Now it seemed like they were placed in the small realm before. None of the people who went to investigate returned. He Zhang's aura was a little low. Old master, are we going to the banquet tomorrow? Their people were killed. If they went to the Yang clan tomorrow, would they not be able to return? Go, of course we're going. How can we miss such a good opportunity to enter the Yang clan? He Zhang snorted, but Yue, don't go. I feel that the Yang clan doesn't have good intentions in organizing this great meeting. Sima Yue shook her head. If the Yang clan wants to deal with you, even if I stay in the inn, I won't be able to escape. I might as well go with you guys. It'll be safer this way. He Zhang thought about it and agreed to bring her along. Chapter 1554. Recommended reading. Although there were some people who didn't want to attend the banquet, there were still many people who went because of the Yang family's face. We don't write, we're just web text movers. Sima Yue was wearing an emerald green dress. Her hair was combed into a simple bun with an emerald green hairpin and a pair of earrings of the same color. Although she was dressed simply, she gave people a comfortable feeling. She sat quietly in the corner of the banquet hall, holding a glass of wine and quietly watching the crowd. May I sit down? Sima Yue looked up and saw Su Yu's smiling face. Whatever. She shrugged. This was not her place. Su Yu sat beside her with a wine glass and said, I saw you looking at these people just now. What are you looking at? I'm thinking, what's the purpose of the Yang family spending money to hold the great meeting? Sima Yue said, spending money and putting in effort. What benefits does it bring them? I think they are here for those ancient things. Su Yu said, Oh, why do you say that? Sima Yue turned to look at him. As far as I know, from the end of the conference yesterday to the banquet, the Yang family went to find several forces. Su Yu said, they all have one thing in common. They're all primordial ores? Not only that, but those forces have also obtained primordial spiritual herbs. So I guess that if your holy medicine hadn't been auctioned off by the Xian Yuan Pavilion, I'm afraid they would have already found you. So you guessed. They got all. Some of them aren't as strong as them, so they naturally can't withstand their pressure. But some are not so lucky. They don't have your boldness, throwing away the sacred medicine just because you said you didn't want it. In the end, it was left in their hands and ended up in the hands of the Yang family. Sima Yue could hear the teasing in his words. She laughed and said, If you can't protect it, why keep it by your side? On the contrary, it will only lead to disaster. Not everyone can be so open-minded. Su Yu admired her. If it were him, he might not be able to take it out so easily. Sima Yue smiled and did not reply. This time, first place belongs to you. That ancient spiritual beast will probably attract the attention of others. Su Yu reminded. On the surface, it belongs to Uncle He and the others. Those people won't find me. Sima Yue said. After knowing that he had a little realm, she felt that she couldn't underestimate the He clan's strength. They wouldn't have much of a problem obtaining a stone statue. If someone wanted to snatch it, they would definitely not be able to return. If you sit here, not only will Uncle He and the rest not be able to return, but you will also be captured by the Yang family? Su Yu asked when he saw Sima Yue fall silent again. Sima Yue frowned slightly. She felt that Su Yu was trying to get close to her. And he is your aunt. Aren't you worried? She asked. Suyu looked at the alienation in her eyes and sighed helplessly in his heart. Previously, she heard that her relationship with Lang was quite good. Why was she so guarded against her? Since I know that they will be fine, what's there to worry about? I'm going back. Goodbye. For some reason, Sima Yue couldn't get close to Suyu, even if he was Su Lunyan's nephew. At this moment, Su Lunyan and He Zhenzhong walked over. Looking at Sima Yue's back, she said, "Did you offend her?" Suyu didn't want to talk about this and asked, "Uncle, Aunt, how is it?" "She can't leave for too long. We didn't find any news." Su Lunyan said, "I'm worried that the Yang family will deal with her when we're not around. The Yang family doesn't seem to be too happy with her. No one greeted her. So you saw that no one paid attention to her. So he thought of coming over to talk to her. She's gone back. Let's go back too." Sima Yue didn't actually go back. After she left the banquet hall, she was targeted. She walked and stopped for a while before turning into a small alley. The people following her followed, but when they entered the alley, they found that the scenery in front of them had completely changed. Oh no! Those people looked at the vast wilderness and their faces changed. This should be an alley, but the wilderness appeared, which meant that they were hallucinating. Could it be an illusion? It's an illusion array. Someone said with certainty. How can it be? How long has she been here? How could she have set up an illusion array? They had been monitoring her for the past 2 days. She had never been here, so it was impossible for her to have set up an illusion array in advance. But how could she not know about an illusion array in 10 minutes? I don't know if she's in this array. Just as he finished speaking, Sima Yue appeared on the hill in front of them. Are you asking me? Sima Yue smiled at them. She appeared whenever she wanted, which made everyone's hearts sink. This meant that she had absolute control over this illusion array. Who sent you here? Let me guess. The Yang family? Sima Yue looked at their expressions. Seems like I guessed wrong. That must be Dan Yushi. Other than Dan Yushi, she did not have any enemies here. The Dan family should be the one who sent people to kill her. I heard that Dan Yushi is unruly, arrogant, and despotic. I thought that the incident last time was over, but I didn't expect her to not be waiting for me here. Sima Yue sneered. But it's a pity that you won't be able to complete her mission today. Sima Yue sneered. Her smile sent chills down their spines. Half an hour later, Sima Yue walked out of the alley. There was no one following her. Not long after, someone entered the alley and saw a few corpses on the ground. On the second day after the banquet, the results of the competition were out. Sima Yue's panacea was undoubtedly the first. Soon, a stone statue was delivered to He Zhenzhong. Yue, this is for you. He Zhenzhong waited for those people to leave before bringing the stone statue to Sima Yue's house. Sima Yue hesitated for a moment before accepting the stone statue. This was the reward for her panacea. Even He Zhenzhong and the others would find it strange if she did not accept it. After a while, the manager of the Xianyuan Pavilion came to the inn and personally brought the list of names for the auction. You can ask the waiter to bring it over. You didn't have to come here personally. Sima Yue smiled as she kept the list. It's my duty. The manager smiled. The higher-ups heard that you brought a panacea to the auction and sent 2 more supreme-level experts over. Thank you for your trouble. We will do our best to spread the news in the next 6 months. If you need anything, please let us know. If possible, can you reserve a room for me? There will definitely be a room for you. That's good. Sima Yue smiled. This auction would definitely be very lively. She wanted to invite her family members to come and watch. Those who read Crazy Wife, 5th Miss Miracle Doctor also liked it. Chapter 1555. The Great or Meeting was held very smoothly. Although there were some people who were forced to sell the ancient spirit herbs to the Yang family in the end, they also received generous rewards. It wasn't too much of a loss. If it was in the past, the participants would have left one after another after the competition ended. But this time, not many people left. Many people had received invitations from the Xianyuan Pavilion. Other than the grand finale of the event, there were also many immemorial spiritual herbs and spiritual artifacts. In the past, if the quality of the auction items was not high enough, the Xianyuan Pavilion would still take out their own items as the finale. This time, there was no need for that at all. Just the saintly medicine alone was enough. Not only did the major powers in G-City receive this message, even the major powers in the other prefectures received it. It could be said that the invitations this time were mainly from the first-rate forces in the inner region. Even the weakest ones were from the second-rate forces. People like the Sima family were not qualified to participate in such a high-level auction. However, the Sima family still received an invitation from the Xianyuan Pavilion and a letter from Sima Yue. In the letter, Sima Yue mentioned some of the things that happened when she went out this time. She also mentioned that the sacred medicine was being auctioned. If the family was willing, they could go and take a look. When Sima Yuan and the others knew that Sima Yue had opened a saint medicine and wanted to auction it off, they beat their chests and stomped their feet in frustration. However, what was done could not be undone. They did not have the confidence to go against the entire continent, so they could only accept this reality. After accepting reality, he gathered the elders of the family and discussed whether there was anything on the auction list that the family needed. If there was, they would prepare to raise money and participate in the auction. After Sima Yu gave the letter to the people of the Xianyuan Pavilion, she rarely went out. However, even so, she was assassinated several times. Dan Yushi was very depressed. Every time she sent out more people than the last time, the end result was the same. They were all annihilated. This made her hate Sima Yu even more. At night, Sima Yue walked out of the inn and avoided the people on the street. She made many turns and arrived at a courtyard of the Yang family. Little Lucky, if you go in and make any noise, I will throw you into the spirit pagoda and forbid you from coming out. She threatened Little Lucky. Xiaoxi originally wanted to go in and kill the Yang family members to avenge Sima Yue. However, when he heard what she said, he was stunned and nodded reluctantly. Sima Yue then brought it into the Yang family. Following the route that the Scarlet Bees had found out, they headed straight for Dan Yushi's residence. Although she didn't put Dan Yushi in her eyes, her temper had flared up after the repeated assassination attempts. Sending out the Scarlet Bees to scout ahead of time, it was easy for him to find out where she lived. At this time, Dan Yushi was throwing a tantrum in the house. The assassins that were sent tonight were all wiped out. What a bunch of useless trash. That Sima Yue is only a monarch. I sent so many assassins, but none of them came back. With that, she smashed the table beside her. The other maids didn't even dare to breathe loudly, afraid that they would be implicated. Only her personal maid was braver and advised, "Young miss, don't be angry. We underestimated her the previous few times. Luckily, she won't be leaving G-City during this period of time. When Old Master and the rest come to participate in the auction, we will send some experts over. We will definitely be able to kill her." Thinking that she still has to live for a few more months, my heart feels worse than burning. Dan Yushi said hatefully. Bang! The people in the house were talking when the door was suddenly slammed open. A figure flew in from outside and landed heavily in front of Dan Yushi. Who is it? The maids quickly stood in front of Dan Yushi. It wasn't that they wanted to protect her, but if she died, they wouldn't be able to live anymore. Sima Yue brought Little Lucky in from outside. She was very satisfied with Little Lucky's battle prowess. Why is it you? Dan Yushi saw her and cried out in surprise. Why can't it be me? Sima Yue laughed coldly. You can send people to kill me, so why can't I come and find you? What do you want to do? Dan Yushi saw the guards lying on the ground and knew that Sima Yue didn't come with good intentions. She didn't know if the clan's patrols would have noticed this place with such a huge commotion. Don't worry, no one will come to save you. The people outside won't be able to hear the commotion here, Sima Yue said calmly. Seeing the fear in her eyes, Sima Yue felt pretty good. How is that possible? What did you do? Dan Yushi cried out, but in her heart, she believed Sima Yue's words. She had beaten up all the guards in the courtyard. With such a huge commotion, if the patrols wanted to notice this place, they would have already come. Until now, no one had come, which meant that no one outside had noticed this place. It's nothing much. I just set up a barrier when I came in. It just so happens that I've learned this quite well. So, just scream as much as you want. No one will be able to hear you anyway." After Sima Yue finished speaking, she teleported and avoided the maids in front of her. She came in front of Dan Yushi and reached out her hand to strangle her neck. "Young mistress! Let go of young mistress!" The maids in the house all screamed. "Hua, didn't you say that you haven't eaten meat for a long time?" Sima Yue didn't care about the people in the house and called Hua out. Then, she pulled Xiaoxi down and threw him over. Then, she turned her head and looked at Dan Yushi. You can't kill me." Dan Yushi saw the murderous look in Sima Yue's eyes and felt terrified for the first time. "When you sent people to kill me, did you ever think that you would be killed by someone else one day?" Sima Yue laughed coldly. She didn't waste any more words and used her strength to break Dan Yushi's neck. TSK. She used too much strength in her hands. Yu, what a waste of food. After Hua ate those people, she looked at the corpses on the ground and smacked her lips twice. She was picky now and didn't eat corpses. She only liked to eat living people. So, when she looked at the corpses on the ground, she didn't have any desire at all. If she doesn't stay here, how will others know that she's dead? Sima Yue said lightly. "Let's go. Someone will come in a while." After Sima Yue finished speaking, she put away Hua and left the courtyard with Xiaoxi. Without the barrier, the smell of blood quickly alerted the patrolling guards. When they arrived, they saw the courtyard full of blood and Dan Yushi in the house. "Go and inform the master that the young mistress has been killed." The guard ordered the people behind him. Thinking about the young mistress who was coming back soon, he couldn't help but have a headache. Sima Yue left Dan Yushi's courtyard. She wanted to leave as soon as possible, but in order to avoid the Yang family's guards, she went around in circles. Not only did she not leave, but she also went further and further away from where she came in. At this moment, she felt a gust of death coming in her direction and subconsciously hid her aura. Chapter 1556. She hid her body behind a rockery and watched as a group of people walked in from the other side of the courtyard. "Boss, where are we sending these guys?" "Don't worry so much. Just follow him." "What if we are seen walking in this courtyard?" "This road is forbidden by the family. If those people dare to come here, we can only turn them into these guys." "Boss, you're really amazing. Even so many corpses listen to you." "These aren't considered corpses yet. You have to go to that place and soak in enough blood before you could be considered a true corpse." The one who was called Boss said. "Boss, aren't you afraid of dealing with these corpses? The thought of them being corpses gives me goosebumps. You talk so much nonsense. Take them and leave. Take them there, and we can rest for a while." Hearing their words, Sima Yue pondered for a moment before entering the spirit pagoda. After a few seconds, she came out wearing the same clothes as the corpses, and her body was emitting the aura of death. She watched as the corpses passed in front of her, and then silently followed to the back of the group. Since the massacre in the city, the Yang family had been relatively peaceful recently, so He Zhenzhong didn't make any further progress during this time. On the day of the banquet, he and Su Lunyin used the banquet as an opportunity to enter the Yang family, but they didn't gain anything. He didn't expect to encounter these corpses when he came in to kill someone. According to the words of those people, these could only be considered semi-finished products, not real corpses. If he followed them, he might be able to find out something. As for little Lucky, whether he was willing or not, she had left him in the spirit pagoda. There were probably hundreds of corpses here, so the two people in front of her didn't notice her presence at all. Sima Yue followed them and came to a courtyard that didn't look any different. The person in front took out something and patted his body. Then, he took the lead and walked in. The corpses behind him followed suit. Sima Yue walked over and saw the enchantment outside the courtyard. She was a little worried that she would be discovered. However, when she saw the corpses entering the courtyard, she also stepped over it. There was no obstruction at all. Only people with death aura can enter this enchantment. The aura of death on those two people should be death aura. Sima Yue guessed. Although she came in safely, she was still surprised by the scene in front of her. She had clearly entered a courtyard, But why was it that after passing through a barrier, she felt as if she had entered a boundless mountain? Yu, there's a sense of space here. Little Spirit was more sensitive to these things. As soon as he came in, he felt that something was wrong. A sense of space? Could it be a small world? Sima Yue was a little surprised. No wonder Uncle He and the others couldn't find anything after investigating the Yang family. It turns out that they didn't leave the corpses outside at all. They left them in the little realm. No matter how they investigated, they couldn't find any direct connection. If she hadn't accidentally bumped into these people this time, she was afraid that she wouldn't have been able to find anything no matter how long she investigated. The two men brought the corpses to the foot of a mountain. At the foot of the mountain sat a black-clothed man. His attire was no different from the corpses. He sat on a large rock, and when he saw the corpses walking over, he frowned and said unhappily, "Didn't I say that you're not allowed to make corpses outside? Why did you bring these back? These resources are not bad, but we can't leave them, so we can only make them like this. Now is a crucial time. If we lure those people to the family, it will be troublesome. Why are you still so ignorant? No matter how important these corpses are, they are not as important as the safety of the family. Yes, this is the last time. Send them to the blood pool. Yes." The group started to walk again. Sima Yue followed behind them. Because they wanted to go up the mountain, she didn't expect that person to bring them to a cave at the foot of the mountain. The cave was very dark. It was probably because the corpses didn't need to see anything. The two men in front took out their night pearls to light up the path. They could barely see the path ahead. Sima Yue followed and walked all the way down. When they reached the bottom, the smell of blood assailed their nostrils. After walking for a while, she finally understood why the smell of blood was so strong. It was a pool bigger than a football field. It was filled with human blood. Go down. If you soak here for 49 days, you will become real corpses. After that person finished speaking, he didn't know if the corpses understood him. One by one, they walked into the blood pool. Sima Yue followed behind. After hesitating for a few seconds, she walked to a place a little further away and obediently went into the pool, letting the fresh blood cover her head. "Let's go out." Footsteps could be heard above her head. The two men gradually walked further away. Sima Yue waited for a while. After confirming that there was no one above, she flashed into the spirit pagoda. When the people in the spirit pagoda saw her covered in blood, they were shocked. "Yu, are you injured?" "No, this is the blood from the blood pool. It's not mine. Little Spirit, I want to take a bath." After half an hour, she finally cleaned herself up. "Yu, what is that blood pool? How did it make you like this?" Little Roar asked with a look of disgust. Sima Yue took him out from Huahua's arms and held him in her arms. As she did so, she said this blood pool is a place to refine corpses. However, I still don't know how it's formed. Following that, she told her beasts about how she followed the corpses into the little realm. "So you're saying that this is the place to create corpses? Those corpses were created here? I can't be sure about this." However, from their previous conversation, those corpses need to be soaked in the blood pool to become corpses. Sima Yue stroked her chin. She really didn't know how those people did it. "Yu, I feel that what you need to think about now is not how to create corpses, but how to get out." Thousand Resonance reminded her. Seeing that everyone was looking at him, he explained, "Since this is the place to create corpses, would there be people guarding this place? How many corpses are there? If you go out like this and get discovered, what will happen? You can't use the scarlet bees to scout for information here. You don't know anything. Why did you follow them in so impulsively? I also know that it's not appropriate to come in like this." However, Uncle He and the rest couldn't find anything after investigating for so long. "Now that I finally found it, I wanted to come in and take a look. If I encounter any danger, I can use the teleportation array to leave or something." Who knew that these people would be so generous to use a little realm to do all this? Sima Yue was also speechless. However, since we're already here, let's investigate properly first. Chapter 1557. Sima Yue changed into another set of black clothes in the spirit pagoda. When she appeared again, a faint ghost aura lingered around her, blocking the blood water. These corpses hadn't turned into corpses yet, so they couldn't sense spiritual energy. They didn't notice that someone was different from them. When she reached the shore, her clothes were still dry, without a single drop of blood on them. However, she noticed that there was less blood than before. Although it was only a slight difference and couldn't be seen with the naked eye, she could sense it with her divine sense. She looked at the corpses. The aura of death was heavier than when she first came down. She guessed that the blood had been absorbed by them. How bloody! She sighed in her heart. Who knew how many lives had been used to accumulate so much blood? She observed for a moment and found that other than the tunnel they came in from, there were 3 other tunnels that led in the opposite direction. He didn't know where these 3 passageways would lead to and whether there would be any danger inside. At this time, she realized that she had relied too much on the scarlet bees in the past. She liked to let them investigate everything first. Now that she couldn't use them, she seemed to have her hands tied. It seemed that he would have to change this habit in the future. She took 2 deep breaths and chose the path on the side. She didn't know where the tunnel led to, but she could feel that the path was heading upwards. As expected, it didn't take long before they left the underground and arrived at the valley. Before leaving the cave, she first used her divine sense to check the surroundings. After confirming that there was no life force outside, she carefully walked out. There are so many corpses here. Sima Yu was a little surprised. As far as the eye could see, the whole valley was covered in black. They were all corpses wearing black clothes and black cloaks. With a sweep of her divine sense, she estimated that there were at least a few thousand corpses here. She thought for a moment, and with a thought, she ran towards the corpses. But before he could touch her, he disappeared. By the time she returned, all the corpses in the valley had already been stored in her spirit pagoda. Little Roar and the others did not like these undead and wanted to kill them the moment they entered. However, they were stopped by Sima Yue. She said that she wanted to keep it for research. Maybe she could get something out of it. After harvesting the corpses in this valley, Sima Yue felt that there might be corpses in the other 2 routes as well. Thus, she went back to the blood pool and went to the other 2 paths. Just as she thought, the other 2 paths also led to the valley, and there were thousands of corpses in the valley. The total number of corpses in the 3 valleys was estimated to be close to 10,000. Sima Yue did not look too good after a round of looting. There were so many corpses, and the weak ones weren't even qualified to be made into corpses. If these 10,000 corpses were taken out, it would be a very powerful force. Moreover, her intuition told her that there were not all the corpses here. No wonder these guys dared to be so brazen, even doing something like massacring a city. After returning to the blood pool, Sima Yue finally calmed down. Since the Yang clan had prepared so many corpses, they were definitely planning something big. It was a pity that he didn't know what they were planning. However, according to the rules of survival in this mainland, it was nothing more than destroying other people's forces or snatching their resources to strengthen themselves. The amount of blood in the blood pool was less than when she left. After 49 days, all the blood would have been absorbed. Thinking of the many corpses in the spirit pagoda, the blood pool must have been filled with countless people's blood. Sensing that someone was coming, she quickly entered the spirit pagoda to check on the situation outside. Humans and corpses were different. They were still corpses and would not notice her presence. However, if she continued to stay in the blood pool and used her spiritual energy to block the blood, she would definitely be discovered. Boss, it seems that the corpses have been absorbing quite well these 2 days. I still have to check on them every 2 days, just in case. The 2 of them left after checking for a while. Sima Yue then came out of the spirit pagoda. With so many corpses gone, it would definitely be discovered very soon, and it would cause a commotion. If the little realm was closed, she wouldn't be able to leave. She didn't have Wu Lingyu's ability to tear space apart. Thinking of this, she felt that she couldn't wait any longer. What if she couldn't wait any longer? Hence, when those people came down for the second time, she made her move. She sprinkled poison at the entrance of the passageway. The two of them fainted the moment they came in. Sima Yue kept her ghost energy and killed the one she called boss. Before he died, she searched his mind and found out about his past. The man in black beside her was shaken awake. When he opened his eyes, he saw his boss looking at him anxiously. "Wake up, something happened," Sima Yue said anxiously when she saw him open his eyes. "Boss, what happened?" He had just woken up and was still a little dizzy. "Something happened to the blood pool. The blood is gone." Sima Yue pointed at the dried-up blood pool. There were only corpses left in it. Seeing the empty blood pool, the man immediately woke up and shouted, "Boss, how did this happen?" "I don't know either," Sima Yue said. "When we came in just now, we were ambushed, right? I think this place was tampered with." "How is that possible? This is a small realm. How could an ordinary person come in?" "I'm puzzled too. When I woke up, I went to the valley in front to take a look. The corpses were all gone," Sima Yue said. She was still puzzled as to why there was no one guarding this place. Later, she thought that this was a small realm. An ordinary person would not be able to come in at all. Hence, there was no need to send someone to guard this place. "God," the man shouted. "If something happens, Thinking of the punishment he would face, the man immediately collapsed onto the ground. "You don't have to sit here. Let's hurry out and inform Steward He." After saying that, Sima Yue dragged the man on the ground and ran out. When they arrived at the entrance of the cave, the person guarding outside was still the same person. It was Steward He, whom she knew from her memory. "Steward He, not good. Dead bodies." The two of them ran too fast and could not speak fluently. Steward He saw them and his body trembled. "What happened to the dead bodies?" Sima Yue took 2 deep breaths and said, "The corpses in the valley are all gone. The blood in the blood pool is also gone." "What?" Steward He stood up from the rock and was about to rush in. "You follow Steward He in. I'll go and tell the patriarch this news." Sima Yue pushed that person into the cave, then flew towards the entrance. Chapter 1558. After leaving the little realm, Sima Yue let out a long sigh of relief. She originally wanted to go out directly, but after a change of heart, she changed her direction. Not long after, the Yang family patriarch and a group of elders found out about the loss of the undead. The person who went to report was directly killed by Yang Wei with a palm strike. When Sima Yue heard the news, she was already outside the Yang clan. This news was told to her by the scarlet bees that were left in the Yang clan. Fortunately, she was quick-witted and did not report the news herself. Instead, she sent a guard in. Although the other party was unwilling, it seemed that the people who came out of the little world all had relatively high statuses, so he could only obediently go. When she returned to the inn and walked in, she saw Su Lu Nian running down the stairs to Sima Yue. Seeing that Sima Yue was safe, Su Lu Nian was relieved. "You little girl, where did you run off to? I haven't seen you for so many days. I was so worried." Seeing that she was fine, Su Lu Nian started to scold her. "Auntie He, I'm fine. I have something to tell you, and Uncle He." Sima Yue lowered her voice as she held Su Lu Nian's hand and went upstairs. Looking at Sima Yue's mysterious look, Su Lu Nian swallowed her words and brought her into her house. "I'm back." He Zhenjiang also knew that Sima Yue had returned. They hadn't seen her for a few days, so they didn't investigate the Yang family anymore. Instead, they searched the entire city for her. Fortunately, Enlei kept reassuring them that Sima Yue was fine, so they were not that worried. "Yue, I'm sorry to have made Uncle and Auntie He worried for the past few days." Sima Yue was genuinely apologetic. "It's good that you're all right." Su Lu Nian patted her head, "But don't run out without saying goodbye next time." "I understand." "All right, you said that you have something to tell us. What's the matter?" Su Lu Nian asked. "It's like this," Sima Yue told him about her experience in the Yang family. In the end, she hid the fact that the corpses were missing and only said that she saw some corpses. "I didn't expect it to be placed in the little world. No wonder we couldn't find anything when we came here." He Zhenjiang slammed his palm on the table. Fortunately, he controlled his strength and didn't break the table. Only those with the aura of death can enter that little realm. That's why the people Uncle he sent didn't find anything. Don't be angry. Sima Yue comforted. This time, if she hadn't coincidentally used her ghost chi to follow those corpses in, she probably wouldn't have been able to find that place. If that's the case, I'm afraid we can't expose the relationship between the Yang family and the undead here. Su Lunyan was a little disappointed. As long as the Yang clan and the undead do something, it's still possible. However, the possibility of that happening in G City wasn't high. Since that was the case, he might as well redeploy his forces and wait for the auction in a few months. For the next few months, the Yang family was unusually quiet. Other than those who went out to do business or socialize, the people in the residence rarely came out. However, there weren't any other movements. If she didn't know that they had lost so many undead, she would have thought that nothing had happened in the Yang family. Thinking about those undead, Sima Yue returned to her room and went to the Spirit Pagoda. In the Spirit Pagoda, the beasties were surrounding those undead and studying them. However, after studying for a while, they still didn't know how to make these undead move. Seems like we need to have a way to control them. Sima Yue gave up after studying for a while. She used all the underworld skills that she had learned when she first started, but no matter what she did, these undead didn't move at all. Yu, when the time comes, let's capture a few people and ask them to tell us how to control them. Little Seven didn't have a good impression of these undead. Seeing that Sima Yue was so interested, she pouted and said, "That's the only way." Sima Yue said, "If not, we can only go to the Ghost Realm and ask them if they have any other methods." However, what she didn't know was that even the Ghost Realm, this method of directly controlling the undead was called sorcery. If people knew about it, they would be attacked together. Hence, her idea of using these undead was most likely going to be foiled. In the following days, Sima Yue didn't go out and simply went into seclusion. As for the He family, because they knew that it was useless to investigate further, they didn't plan to go out either. However, sometimes they would still go out early and return late. It seemed like they hadn't completely given up. Sima Yue went into seclusion in the Spirit Pagoda. If there was anyone, Little Spirit would remind her. Hence, no one knew that she wasn't in her room for the past few months. It wasn't until a month before the auction, when there were more and more people in the city, that she ended her seclusion and changed to reading in her room. Later, she heard from Enlay that a few days ago, the Dan family came to find trouble with Sima Yue. However, they were stopped by He Zhanzhang and the rest. This Dan Yushi is dead in the Yang family. Why don't you go find the Yang family? Why are you looking for my little girl? Are you bullying her because she doesn't have anyone to rely on? The people from Xian Yuan Pavilion have to worship her. Don't you dare touch her. Su Lunyan's words were very effective. Everyone in G City knew about Xian Yuan Pavilion's attitude towards Sima Yue. Other than her, no one else's invitation was personally sent out by the steward. Knowing that the He family was the one auctioning the sacred medicine, the Dan family didn't go against them and left dejectedly. After hearing this, Sima Yue sneered and said, "These people only know how to bully the weak. Dan Yushi died in the Yang family. They can't catch the murderer, so they can only find me, someone who has a grudge with her, to settle the score." Although she was indeed the murderer, in the eyes of outsiders, no one would associate her with a murderer. The Dan family did this because they were looking for a weak person to vent their anger on. Enlay had seen this in the Donglai family and knew that this was the deep-rooted bad habit of people. She didn't say anything. After a few days, the people from the Sima family came. Sima Yue saw that other than her great-grandfather and grandparents, even Sima Qing was here. "Old ancestor, why are you not at home? Why are you here? It won't be chaotic." Sima Qing glanced at her and sighed in his heart. She was just a little girl, but she was now affecting the entire family. Anything she did was enough to make them shudder with fear and trepidation. "Child, you did well this time. In a situation where you don't have the ability, you must protect yourself first before thinking about those things." Huang Yingying touched Sima Yue's head and lectured her. "I know, Granny. You must be tired. Rest first. I'll bring you around the city later," Sima Yue said with a smile. Okay. Sima Yue sent them to their rooms. When she returned, she realized that there was another person in the house. She narrowed her eyes and looked at the person cautiously. "Who are you?" Chapter 1559. Recommended reading. The person in the room was dressed in white. She looked delicate and weak, even more so than a gigolo. At this moment, he was holding a teacup and drinking tea leisurely. He had suddenly appeared, yet none of them had noticed him. If someone who was stronger than the old ancestor wanted to do something, would he be able to escape? Sima Yue looked at him cautiously. If he wanted to do something, she would go in even if she had to expose her spirit pagoda. "Little girl, there's no need to be so nervous. If I wanted to do anything to you, you would be a corpse by now." The man smiled. Sima Yue did not let her guard down and asked again, "Who are you?" "Ruyan didn't say you were so vigilant." The man in white looked her up and down. "I heard that you're very close to her the moment you see her. Why are you so resistant when you see me?" Sima Yue frowned. "Aunt Feng?" From the looks of it, he seemed to be very familiar with Aunt Feng. "My name is Feng Qing, your Aunt Feng's doctor." Feng Qing revealed her identity. "How did you figure out the acupuncture treatment method?" Sima Yue finally believed his words. She did give the silver needle technique to Aunt Feng's maid. She believed that other than Aunt Feng's doctor, no one else would know about this. Knowing that he wasn't here to hurt her, her heart finally calmed down. She replied, "I saw it in an ancient book." "Which ancient book?" "I forgot." Sima Yue made it up. There was no real ancient book. When Feng Qing saw her like this, he knew that she was lying to him. "How's Aunt Feng now?" Sima Yue asked. "It wasn't very good at first, but with your silver needle technique, it didn't continue to worsen. She can't leave over there. Otherwise, I would have let her come over to find you." Feng Qing said. Sima Yue didn't know where he was talking about, but the person who came last time said the same thing. It seemed that Aunt Feng was really busy recently. Hearing that Feng Ruyan wasn't good, she was a little worried. "Since Aunt Feng isn't doing well, why aren't you guarding her? What are you doing here?" "Of course I'm here for something. For the primordial sacred medicine?" Sima Yue guessed. "How smart." Sima Yue rolled her eyes in her heart. If he wasn't here for the sacred elixir, what else could he be here for? But the ancient sacred medicine can't cure Aunt Feng's injuries. It can't be cured, but it can be suppressed. Sima Yue felt that something was wrong. What's wrong with Aunt Feng? Did he use spiritual power? When Feng Qing saw Sima Yue staring at him, he sighed and said, "I moved twice. If it weren't for the silver needle technique that you sent over, I'm afraid that he would have been dead by now." Aunt Feng... Sima Yue couldn't say anything to reprimand Feng Ruyan. Feng Ruyan knew that she couldn't use her spiritual energy, and if it wasn't a special situation, why would she do that? When Feng Qing saw that Sima Yue was truly worried for Feng Ruyan, he thought that Sima Yue was indeed the girl that she fancied. She didn't dote on her for nothing. "Don't worry too much. As long as we get the ancient sacred medicine, the effects won't be much worse than the divine medicine. Her body should be able to recover by 30 to 40%. He said it casually, but he was worried in his heart. Although the sacred medicine was good, it wasn't a divine medicine. Also, ordinary divine medicines were useless to her. Only the divine scar could. However, with the abilities of the Feng people, they couldn't find it after so many years. It was most likely gone. If we have the divine scar, can she be completely cured? Feng Qing should have told Feng Ruyan that she was looking for the divine scar. There's a 70 to 80% chance. Sima Yue clenched her fist. What if we add the Eye of Earth? 80%. What if we add the Tree of Life? If we have these three things, I can definitely cure her. Feng Qing said with certainty. But these three things are extinct in the continent. Sima Yue thought for a while and said, "Don't bid for the sacred medicine. Bring me to Aunt Feng." Feng Qing looked at Sima Yue and saw that her expression was firm, as if she had made a decision. "You have all three of these things?" He even forgot to breathe. "Yeah," Sima Yue said. "I got them by chance. I wanted to treat Aunt Feng when I saw her, but she never came to find me. I don't know how to find her." Previously, she wanted to contact Feng Ruyan through the soul imprint in her sea of consciousness, but she suddenly found that Feng Ruyan had broken the connection. She thought that it was when she was seriously injured. Feng Qing was also excited. If she really had these things, then Feng Ruyin could be saved. Then he calmed down and said, "Let's wait for the auction to end before going. With the ancient sacred medicine, the effect will be better. I've also prepared an ancient sacred medicine for Aunt Feng. The one that was auctioned is not very useful for her." Sima Yue said, "You also prepared the ancient sacred medicine?" "Yeah." Sima Yue nodded. After she opened the sacred medicine, she found that one of them was useful for Feng Ruyin and kept it. "Then let's go now." Feng Qing grabbed her hand. "Wait for a while. I have to tell my grandfather and the others." Sima Yue said, "Then let's go together." Sima Ji Yuan and the others saw Feng Qing and became alert. There was one more person in the inn, and they did not notice it. Sima Yue told them that she was leaving and told them not to bid for the sacred medicine. As for the rest, they could bid for whatever they saw. They did not have to worry about money. At most, they could use the sacred medicine's money to pay for it. Anyway, those things would definitely not be more valuable than the sacred medicine. "Then when can you come back?" Huang Yingying was a little worried. "I should be able to come back before the agreed time with Xin Xiuhe." Sima Yue said, "If I can't come back on time, when Xin Xiuhe sends someone to pick me up, tell him that I have something to do, and we'll look for him later." "Okay." Sima Yue was afraid that they would not listen to her and bid for the sacred medicine, pushing the Sima family into the teeth of the storm. She called Sima Qing to one side and took out an ancient sacred medicine, saying, "This is also from the ore. The one that was auctioned is much worse than this one." Sima Qing understood Sima Yue's meaning and nodded. He understood what she meant. Since they had one in their family, they would not be so desperate for the one that was auctioned. "Be careful." Sima Qing glanced at Feng Qing. Although he was worried, he could not change Yue's decision. "Little girl, hurry up," Feng Qing urged. "Old ancestor, you still have to be careful of the Yang family and the undead. As for the details, you can ask Uncle He later." Sima Yue saw that Feng Qing was a little impatient and did not explain in detail and returned to his side. Feng Qing used a faint golden light to envelop Sima Yue, and the two of them disappeared in front of everyone's eyes. Just based on this, the Sima family knew that the person who took away Sima Yue was not an ordinary person, and they were worried for her. Those who read Crazy Wife, Divine Doctor's Fifth Miss also liked it. Chapter 1560. Although the Sima family was worried, they understood that it was Sima Yue's decision, and they couldn't interfere with it. Thinking of what she said before she left, they went to find Yi Zhenjiang and asked about the Yang family's undead. They found out that Sima Yue had unintentionally ruined their plan, so the Yang family had been very careful recently. After knowing what Sima Yue had done here, Sima Ji Yuan and the others let out a long sigh. This little guy was not someone to be worry-free. Every time he came back, the things he did made them tremble in fear. If something happened to her in the Yang family, they would regret letting her out. Sima Yue followed Feng Qing. She knew that they had been traveling through space, but she did not know where they were, time, and distance. When they came out of the space, Sima Yue was already lost. "We're here already? Is Aunt Feng here?" She was a little dizzy now. If Feng Qing hadn't grabbed her hand, she wouldn't have known where she was. "This is the Feng people. Ruyin is not here. I will send someone to call her back," Feng Qing said. When he arrived, he called out the spirit beast and let Sima Yue sit on it. Then they flew towards the ancestral land. Sima Yue could feel that Feng Qing had a very high status among the Feng people. When the people on the ground saw his mount, no matter what they were doing, they would stop and salute him. Some of them would even come forward to greet him. She estimated that he was at least a clan elder. Sometimes, Feng Qing would also stop to deal with it. "Your Honor, this is..." Someone saw Sima Yue when he was bowing. "This is Sima Yue. I will be staying with the clan for a while." The other party was very surprised and said, "Your Honor, aren't the clan's rules not allowing outsiders to enter? You don't have to worry about that." Feng Qing's words silenced the other party. "Then where should we arrange for her?" "I'll take her back. You don't have to worry about it." After Feng Qing finished speaking, he left with her. The news that Feng Qing brought an outsider into the clan quickly spread throughout the Feng people. Everyone was curious about who could make him disregard the clan rules. Everyone was even more curious when they found out that he had brought Sima Yue to Qingfeng Garden. However, no one dared to question his decision. If he said he didn't need anyone to interfere, no one dared to say no. It was mainly because of Feng Qing's status that even the clan leader could not control him. Sima Yue did not know which part of the mainland they were in, but she was smart enough not to ask. There are some things that she would naturally know if she should know, and there was no point in asking about things that she shouldn't know. However, the Feng people were really prosperous. Along the way, they flew past many residential areas. Feng Qing said that these were all her clansmen. Sima Yue pursed her lips. She didn't know if the Feng people were able to survive or what. There were so many of them that they could even attack a group of people in a fight. Feng Qing brought her to his courtyard. It was a little far from the residential areas, but the environment was not bad. The spiritual power was abundant, and it was the best place to cultivate. If he were to cultivate here, it was possible for him to cultivate for 7 or 8 days instead of 10 days a day. This showed his status in the Feng people. After staying here for a few days, she found out that this guy had not built such a good place for cultivation, but for his precious piece of land. Feng Qing randomly chose a courtyard for her and said, "You can stay here for now. I'll get someone to bring Rian back. Where do you want to go? I'll ask the medicine boy to take you there." After saying this, he disappeared from the courtyard. Mississippi, 2 medicine boys suddenly appeared behind her, giving her a fright. Sima Yue turned around and saw 2 boys around 7 or 8 years old. They looked exactly the same and were staring at her. The 2 children were very cute. They had chubby little faces and big round eyes. Those eyes reminded her of Little Tuesday. Ever since she was taken away from the dark forest, he never contacted her again. She didn't know if he was doing well in the clan. After so many years, what had he become? "Who are you?" She reached out her hand and touched the 2 children's heads. The child on the left frowned. With a cold face, he took a step back and let go of her hand. The other one didn't dodge. He looked at her with a smile and said, "We are his honor's medicine boys. I'm Fong Fong, and he's Yuan Yuan. I'm the older brother, and he's the younger brother. His honor asked us to bring you around the clan to prevent you from going to places that you shouldn't go." Yuan Yuan's temperament was colder, and even his voice was colder. Sima Yue was curious about the Feng people. However, she had something to do this time, so she didn't have much interest in sightseeing. "I'm a little tired now, and I want to rest for a while. I'll ask you to lead the way when I want to sightsee later. Is that okay?" "Okay. Then we'll go and tidy up the medicine garden. If you want to go out, you can call us from the back." Fong Fong smiled and said, "Are the 2 of you able to recognize medicinal herbs?" Sima Yue was a little curious. "Miss, although the 2 of us aren't tall, we are a few hundred years older than you. We can still tidy up the medicine garden," Fong Fong explained. Sima Yue's mouth twitched. A few hundred years old medicine boy? She even treated them like dolls just now, and even touched their heads. It was all Feng Qing's fault for saying that they were medicine boys. She thought that they were only a few years old. "Then you 2 can go and do your work." After speaking, she turned around and returned to the house that Feng Qing designated for her. So embarrassing. Because of this, Sima Yue felt very embarrassed. Thus, she didn't go out and waited for Feng Ruyan in the house. She didn't know when Feng Ruyan would come back. Thus, she took out her medical book and started reading. Although Fong Fong and Yuan Yuan were tidying up the medicine garden at the back, every movement in the courtyard was under their control. Previously, the 2 of them thought that Sima Yue would ask them to go out for a walk after resting for a while. They didn't expect her to start reading after waking up. She didn't go out for more than 10 days. Isn't she curious about the Feng people? Fong Fong touched his chin and was a little surprised. Not everyone has such a strong curiosity. Yuan Yuan felt that Sima Yue's behavior wasn't strange. "Yuan Yuan, why do you think Master brought her back? Is it because he found a mistress for us?" Fong Fong thought of this and was a little excited. Yuan Yuan glanced at him calmly. Didn't you feel a trace of the Feng people's aura on her? Master wouldn't find a mistress for us in the clan. That's true. Fong sighed. As his medicine boys, not only did they have to manage these herbs, they also had to worry about his life. It was tiring. Yuan's eyes suddenly lit up. He stared at the sky far away and said excitedly, "Lord is back." Sima Yue, who was in the room, also felt something. She opened the door and saw Feng Ruyin slowly appearing. Chapter 1561. Feng Ruyin was still so beautiful. The moment she stood in the courtyard, the entire courtyard seemed to come alive. Aunt Feng. Sima Yue suddenly felt a little sour. Although she had not seen Feng Ruyin all these years, Feng Ruyin had helped her a lot. If it wasn't for Feng Ruyin's soul imprint in the dark forest, she would have been killed by Little Two's clan. Later on, when she established her own sect, Feng Ruyin gave her a gift which improved her physique and even gave her the aura of the Feng people. When she was outside, this was a layer of protection. She also remembered the matter of Xian Yuan Pavilion protecting her in her heart. Feng Ruyin smiled as she looked at Sima Yue. She was quite different from the last time they met. At that time, she was a young lady who had just come up from the lower continent. She was like a newborn calf who was not afraid of tigers. She rubbed Sima Yue's head and said, "You have grown up. Ruyin, let's go in." Feng Qing rarely saw Feng Ruyin being so emotional. Although he wanted to see more, treating her body was the most important thing now. Feng Ruyin held Sima Yue's hand and walked into the house. Feng and Yuan bowed and shouted emotionally, "Lord, thank you for your hard work." Feng Ruyin nodded at the two of them. All these years, most of her medicine was organized by them. She remembered them. When Feng and Yuan heard her words, they became even more emotional. Feng Qing walked over and slapped each of them. He scolded them for being useless and followed them in. Every time he saw Feng Ruyin, he would be like this. Embarrassing. Feng and Yuan were not angry and followed him into the house. They did not expect to hear Feng Ruyin say, "Yue." Feng Qing said that you have God's scar, tree of life, and eye of earth. The two of them were stunned and looked at Sima Yue subconsciously. Sima Yue nodded and said, "God's scar was given to me by my senior brother. Eye of earth was obtained when I was in the academy. Tree of life was obtained when I went to the immortal land. Do you know that these three items are treasures that everyone in the world fights for? If you keep it for yourself, you will definitely have great fortune in the future." Feng Ruyin looked at her. "I know, but I'm willing to use it to treat Aunt Feng." Sima Yue was not distressed at all. The divine scar was originally prepared by her for Feng Ruyin. As for the tree of life and the eye of earth, she had already discussed it with Qing Yi and Little Seven. She only gave them some, and it wouldn't affect them much. The two of them also agreed to give it to her. There's also the primordial sacred medicine. Feng Qing said, "It'll be even better with this." Feng Ruyin also knew that Sima Yue had the immemorial sacred medicine. She said softly, "I didn't expect so many things to appear when the immemorial mining area appeared." Senior Feng Qing, when can we treat Aunt Feng? Sima Yue looked at Feng Qing. "You already call her Aunt Feng, so you can call me Uncle Feng. Otherwise, I'll look really old." Feng Qing ridiculed and then said, "Ruyin just came back. I still have to do some conditioning for her. When her body is in its best condition, we can use the medicine." "Hurry up," Feng Ruyin said. "I know, it's just a few days." Feng Qing rolled his eyes and understood what she meant. "Then I'll leave it to you. Yue, stay at my place. I'll bring you around Feng people." Feng Ruyin brought Sima Yue and left. Feng and Yuan came over and said, "Master, that Sima Yue really has the divine scar and the tree of life?" "Yes." Feng Qing didn't see it with his own eyes, but he knew about the relationship between Feng Ruyin and Sima Yue, so he believed that she wouldn't lie to him. Actually, he believed in Feng Ruyin. He believed in her judgment. Sima Yue followed Feng Ruyin to her courtyard. When they reached the door, they saw a group of maids welcoming them. "Lord, you're back." "Yes, clean up the courtyard beside mine for Yue to stay." Feng Ruyin ordered. Yes, Lord. The maids around Feng Ruyin all knew about Sima Yue. When they heard that she was arranged to stay beside Feng Ruyin, although they were surprised, they still cleaned up the house quickly. When Sima Yue entered, she sized up Feng Ruyin's courtyard. The courtyard was filled with all kinds of strange flowers and plants. Every piece of land was meticulously planned and complemented each other. It was like a fairyland. When Feng Ruyin stood inside, she was like a fairy in a painting. Sima Yue always felt that Feng Ruyin was beautiful, but her temperament made people feel comfortable. When she was with her, she felt relaxed. If the members of the Phoenix clan knew what she was thinking, they would definitely roll their eyes at her. Lord gave people a strong feeling. How was she as casual as she felt? Feng Ruyin brought Sima Yue to sunbathe in the flowers, just like the year they met. Feng Ruyin asked her about her experiences over the years, and she told her everything, including how she wanted to get the divine medicine. Divine medicine is hard to find, and you're going to use up 2 of them. Feng Ruyin didn't say that she couldn't get it. Instead, she believed that Yue would get it. I have no choice. That's my father. No matter what price I have to pay, I have to cure him. Sima Yue said, You're a good child. It's just the Xin Xiu clan. If you can't handle it, I'll get someone to get it for you. Feng Ruyin's words were light, but her aura couldn't be ignored. Not now. I'll try first. If I really can't handle it, I might have to ask Aunt Feng to help me. Sima Yue said embarrassedly. I don't need to do anything. When the time comes, you just need to release the aura of the Feng people. They won't dare to do anything to you. Feng Ruyin said. Sima Yue was really shocked this time. She always thought that the Feng people were one of the hidden clans. At most, they were slightly stronger. But looking at Feng Ruyin's attitude, she didn't even put the Xin Xiu clan in her eyes. Could it be that the Feng people were much stronger than the hidden clans? Seeing her shocked expression, Feng Ruyin smiled and said, Seems like you don't know the status of the Feng people. I really didn't ask. In the past, she was too weak and didn't know much about the background of the Feng people. Although she was still weak now, she still didn't know about the status of the Feng people. Do you know that in the ancient times, there was a clan called the God Clan? Sima Yue's breathing tightened. God Clan? Did they really exist in this world? In the past, the Ghost Clan, Human Clan, and Demon Clan were still together. They were all ruled by the God Clan. Then the world changed, and the God Clan disappeared. The Human Clan, Demon Clan, and Ghost Clan separated and developed on their own. They became what they are now. Feng Ruyin muttered. Then the Feng people were the God Clan. Chapter 1562. Recommended reading. Feng Ruyin gave her a calm look and continued. In the past, before the heavenly Tao changed, there were countless monarchs. Unlike now, there hasn't been a single one in hundreds of thousands of years. Sima Yue glanced at Feng Ruyin and suppressed the doubts in her heart. She actually wanted to ask if Aunt Feng had already reached the Imperial Emperor level. In the past, she had such thoughts, but she felt that it was impossible. Because the heavenly Tao was pressing down from above, there was no Imperial Emperor in this world. However, what if the Feng people were really the Protoss in the past? They might have a way to advance to the Emperor realm. Don't be distracted. Feng Ruyin reached out and poked her forehead. Sima Yue immediately collected her thoughts and continued to listen to her. The 3 clans split up, but the human race continued to rely on the god race. Even after the god race completely declined, their status was still above the human race. Feng Ruyin said, Aunt Feng, why did the god race fall? Sima Yue asked curiously, why is there no mention of the god race ruling over the 3 races in the ancient book? That was the shame of the human race in the past. How could it be passed down? Ordinary people didn't know about this matter, but those with a little bit of background knew about it. As for why it fell, it was because the heavenly Tao changed. Humans had no choice. When Feng Ruyin talked about the heavenly Tao, her tone was somewhat sarcastic. Feng people are from the divine race, right? Sima Yue asked. Yes. What's the difference between the god race and the human race? Is it a race other than humans and devils? Sima Yu sized up Feng Ruyin and didn't feel like there was anything different about her. Feng Ruyin laughed lightly and said, "Divine race? There was no such thing as the god race. They were just a bunch of people who pretended to be mysterious. It's just that his bloodline is a little special, and the environment he was in was suitable for cultivation. So he was the strongest." Sima Yue understood. It must be because their bloodlines were different. Before the heavenly Tao changed, they were very suitable for cultivation. Therefore, their overall strength was very strong, and they called themselves gods. In fact, it was just a special human race. Later, the heavenly Tao changed, and the entire cultivation environment changed. Cultivation became more and more difficult, and the strength of the god race gradually weakened. In the end, the three races split, and the god race disappeared. Now, only the Feng people were left. However, as the saying goes, a starving camel is still bigger than a horse. No matter how weak the divine race was, it was still strong. The bloodline of the Feng people still had its own advantages in this world. Therefore, the entire Feng people were very strong. All the hidden clans and aristocratic families had to step aside. No wonder when Feng Ruyin mentioned the Xianxiu clan, she did not even put them in her eyes. "Aunt Feng, you should have broken through to the Imperial Emperor realm, right?" Sima Yue asked. Seeing that Feng Ruyin didn't deny it, she asked curiously, "Since you are already a monarch, then there shouldn't be anyone in this world who can match you. How did you get injured?" "This world doesn't allow for the birth of an imperial monarch. I naturally paid a price to become an imperial monarch. The heavenly tribulation almost killed me. In the end, I just passed the heavenly tribulation, and before I could recover, I met my mortal enemy. In the end, I got injured and left behind all these injuries. All these years, if it wasn't for Feng Qing who did her best to treat me, I wouldn't have been able to hold on for so long." Feng Ruyin said emotionally. In what?" Feng Ruyin was silent for a while and said, "Since this world doesn't allow for the birth of an imperial monarch, the Tao pattern is incomplete. This also means that although I have entered the ranks of an imperial monarch, my Tao is incomplete and is not recognized by the heavenly Tao." Now, she often thought that if she didn't do all these back then, she wouldn't have been taken advantage of by her mortal enemy. Even if she didn't become an imperial monarch, she would have a different life. An imperial monarch who wasn't recognized felt like a child who wasn't recognized by his parents. No matter what he did, there would be something missing in his heart. Who cares if the heavenly Tao recognizes you or not? You are you. You live for yourself and the Feng people. You don't live for the heavenly Tao. Since the heavenly Tao is so harsh, there will be a day when it will rebel. Sima Yue said resolutely. Boom! A bolt of lightning suddenly descended from the sky and landed on Sima Yue's body. She was completely defenseless and was charred on the outside and tender on the inside. Cough, cough. Sima Yue opened her mouth and spat out a mouthful of black smoke. Feng Ruyin looked at the charcoal-like person and couldn't help but laugh. This time, her laugh was much more genuine than before and wasn't as illusory anymore. She also made a move just now, but the heavenly Tao's lightning punishment was only targeted at Sima Yue. Even if she made a move, it was useless. When the maids in the courtyard saw the smile on Feng Ruyin's face and then looked at Sima Yue, who was in a sorry state, they also laughed. It had been a long time since their mistress smiled so sincerely. Are you all right? Feng Ruyin asked. Cough, 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 cough. Sima Yue coughed a few more times and waved her hands at Feng Ruyin. Aunt Feng, I'm fine. Luckily, I'm used to being struck by lightning. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to take it. This is the lightning punishment. Normally, it's based on the person's strength. However, even a venerable rank expert might not be able to withstand a lightning of punishment you unleashed just now. You really fine? Feng Ruyin said. I'm fine. Sima Yue recovered and took out a pill to eat before saying, I'm used to being struck by lightning. Every time I advance, I'll be struck by lightning. That's why my body is immune to it. After eating the pill, the burning sensation in her internal organs lessened by quite a bit. Feng Ruyin grabbed her hand and sent a gentle energy into her body, making her feel much better. Lord, Ruyin, Feng Qing and a few elders rushed over after seeing the lightning punishment. They thought it was targeted at Feng Ruyin, but they didn't expect to see Sima Yue being struck in a charcoal. Yue, what are you doing? Why did you attract the lightning punishment? Feng Qing was happy when he saw Sima Yue's state. Lord, this is... The others didn't recognize Sima Yue. Although they knew Feng Qing brought someone back, they didn't know her situation. This is my child. She said something inappropriate just now and attracted the lightning punishment. Feng Ruyin said, Feng Xiang, bring Yue to rest. When your body recovers, you can meet these elders again. Sima Yue knew that it wasn't suitable for her to meet people in her current state. She wanted to bow to them, but her body couldn't bend due to the lightning punishment. Instead, her actions were out of place. Feng Xiang brought her to her room to rest. Feng Ruyin stood up, and everyone knelt down. You guys sure run fast. Get up. Feng Ruyin's voice was faint. Although it wasn't strict, it wasn't as cordial as when she was with Sima Yue. Those who read Crazy Wife, Divine Dr. Fifth Miss liked it. Chapter 1563. Feng Ruyin brought these people to the living room and let Feng Qing tell them about Sima Yue. Those elders were originally unhappy that Feng Qing brought back such a person, but after hearing what he said, their anger disappeared. She came to save Sovereign and even took out a divine medicine that they didn't have. Even if it was them, they were grateful to her. Yue calls me Aunt Feng. You should know how to treat her, right? Feng Ruyin waited for Feng Qing to finish before speaking. I don't wish for her to be uncomfortable in Feng people and be unhappy. Those arrogant descendants of yours, restrain yourselves. Yes, Sovereign, everyone replied in unison. A few elders were thinking in their hearts that when they returned, they must restrain their descendants and not offend Sima Yue. From the punishment lightning, Sima Yue was only slightly injured and could still walk on her own. This meant that she wasn't weak. If they offended her, the ones who would suffer would be their descendants. Same as before, there's no need to come here if there's nothing. All right, you may leave. Feng Ruyin waved her hand at them. Those people bowed and left. Feng Qing waited for them to leave before asking about what happened just now. Feng Ruyin smiled and told them what happened just now. Feng Qing clicked his tongue in wonder. Even the punishment lightning came down. This means that Heaven's Tao is afraid of her. Maybe one day. Feng Qing didn't finish his sentence, but he was looking forward to it. She can be nurtured well. Feng Ruyin leaned on the soft mattress and felt a little tired. If that day really came, wouldn't the world be changed? And Feng Qing wasn't the only old acquaintance by her side. Have a good rest. I will refine pills for you. Feng Qing looked at her tired face, and a trace of heartache flashed past his eyes. Feng Ruyin didn't say anything and had already fallen asleep. He took out a snow-white blanket and gently covered her. He wanted to reach out and caress her face, but after hesitating for a long time, he retracted his hand and turned to leave. Sima Yue went back to her room and laid on her bed to rest. She thought about the punishment she had received from the heavenly Tao. He had been struck by lightning many times in the past, but this was the first time he had been struck by lightning. Was it because of what he had said? Actually, she hadn't said those words on a whim. Instead, it had sprouted in her heart a long time ago. A long, long time ago. Ever since he first saw the divine sense left behind by Emperor Qing Dao. In the past, she had never faced this matter head-on, but now, she had real thoughts. Creak! The door was pushed open. She turned around and saw that it was Feng Qing. Looks like you're fine. When Feng Qing saw that she could still move, he thought to himself that she was actually so fine under such a powerful lightning punishment. She was really favored by the heavens. Uncle Feng, what's the matter? Sima Yue asked. I'll take you somewhere. Before Sima Yue could refuse, Feng Qing scooped her up, tucked her under his armpit, and left. Your Honor. Feng Xiang appeared. Wait for Ruyin to come out. Tell her that I've brought this girl to the void pond. Without waiting for Feng Xiang to speak, he left with Sima Yue. When Feng Xiang heard that he was bringing Sima Yue to the Void Pond, she subconsciously wanted to stop him. What there was danger. However, Feng Qing obviously didn't intend to give her the chance to stop him. Feng Xiang, what are you worried about? If she can come out of the Void Pond, her future will be limitless. But is it so easy to pass through the Void Pond? Feng Xiang was very worried. Your Honor likes her so much. Your Honor won't do anything rash. I hope so. When Feng Qing left, Sima Yue saw the worry in Feng Xiang's eyes. She thought to herself that the Void Pond was definitely not a simple place. Feng Qing brought her to the peak of a mountain. There was a huge pond at the peak of the mountain. It looked a little like the volcanic lake she had seen before. However, normal lakes were either blue or green or colorless. However, the water in this pond was silver. She didn't see wrongly. The color was silver. It was the color of the water and not the color of the bottom of the lake. This is the Void Pond? Sima Yue asked. Yes. Feng Qing put her down. You'll stay in the pond for the next few days. What's the use of this pond? Sima Yue asked. You'll know when you go in. Feng Qing didn't say much. All right, before you go in, give me the divine medicine. Sima Yue looked at him and then at the silver pond behind her. After hesitating for a while, she passed the God's Scar, Earth's Eye, Tree of Life, and the divine medicine that she had prepared to Feng Qing. Feng Qing opened the jade box and looked at it. Then he frowned and said, The God's Scar needs blood to grow. It's stained with your blood, so it's best for you to control it. I'll use the medicine on Ruyin in 2 months. I hope you'll be out by then. 2 months? Without waiting for her to say anything, Feng Qing waved his long sleeves and threw Sima Yue into the pond. Her injuries hadn't healed yet. Even moving was difficult for her, let alone swimming in the pond. She cursed in her heart. Then her entire body sank. Soon, she couldn't see the top of her head. Don't let me down. Feng Qing stood by the pond for a while. Then he left. When Sima Yue was in the water, she felt that the water was a little strange. When she opened her eyes, she didn't see the underwater world. Instead, it was hazy. Where is this? She tried to swim up, but the water above her head disappeared. Her entire body seemed to be wrapped in a hazy mist. She tried to step on it, but it was also illusory. Illusory? She remembered the name of the pond. Void Pond. Could it be that she came to the void through the pond? No, this wasn't the void. If it was the void, the feeling would be different. She closed her eyes and tried to use her divine sense to check her surroundings. However, she didn't notice that there were lightning sparks on her body. See, those lightning sparks slowly flowed up from the bottom of her feet. The surrounding mist was attracted by the lightning and kept drilling into her body. Sima Yue originally wanted to check out her surroundings. However, she realized that she seemed to have come to the void. She was surrounded by all kinds of stars and space dust. She saw a bright spot in front of her. There seemed to be something calling her. She wanted to go over, but her body couldn't move. Go over. Go over. She felt that something in her body was clamoring for her to go to the bright spot. She wanted to go too. However, the more anxious she was, the more she felt that she couldn't move. Don't be anxious. A voice suddenly sounded. Her anxious heart calmed down. Go, you can do it. When you go there, you'll find another world. That voice encouraged her. It was gentle and bewitching. Chapter 1564. Past. Sima Yue kept looking at the bright spot. She kept thinking about the past. Everything around her seemed to recede, and her eyes could only see that spot. She was getting closer and closer. She could feel the distance between her and the bright spot shrinking bit by bit. She didn't feel her body moving, but the distance between them was indeed getting closer. Pain. She suddenly felt as if her entire body had been pierced by a sharp blade. Her nerves relaxed, and the bright spot was far away again. She lowered her head and looked at herself. She looked fine, but she could feel the pain. She wanted to move on. The body in the void pond had already been dyed red with blood. Streaks of white light flickered in the void pond and left wounds on her body. Fresh blood flowed out. Her body seemed to have flowed out of a pool of blood. However, it was fortunate that her body was able to recover on its own. Coupled with the mist that had entered her body was able to support itself and not collapse. After Feng Ruyin woke up, she heard from Feng Xiang that Feng Qing had brought Sima Yue to the void pond. She was stunned for a moment before she sighed and said, "He still hasn't given up hope? My lord, no one has succeeded in coming up here in so many years. Miss Yue is not from the Feng people. Will she be in danger?" Feng Xiang asked worriedly. "It doesn't matter. She already has the aura of the Feng people in her body. Nothing serious will happen. Get people to pay attention to the situation over there. If it doesn't work out, bring her up," Feng Ruyin instructed. "Yes, my lord." Feng Xiang went out and came back after a while. Her expression was a bit strange. Feng Ruyin was reading a book. Seeing her like this, she put down her book and asked, "What's wrong?" "Miss Yue has activated the Forbidden Void," Feng Xiang replied. "What?" Feng Ruyin's indifferent expression revealed shock for the first time. Even her body froze for a moment before softening. "Get someone to wait outside the void pond." "Honorable lord, why don't you let me stand guard?" Feng Xiang said. She had a good impression of Sima Yue. At least she was the only one who could make the great lord smile sincerely. "Go." Feng Ruyin lowered her head to continue reading. But after reading for a while, she still couldn't calm down. Not long after, the door was opened and Feng Qing came in. What a surprise. The forbidden space that hasn't been touched for so many years has been activated for her. Feng Qing casually found a place to sit down. "You didn't even consider her situation before doing this. If something happens, you still have to save her," Feng Ruyin said. I just want to take a look. That little girl is doing well in the void pond. Although I'm a little disheveled, it's not bad," Feng Qing said casually. "We all know what the forbidden void is like." Feng Ruyin said indifferently, "That child can be considered her luck. Once the forbidden void was activated, the entire void pond would be sealed. Other than Feng Ruyin and Feng Qing, no one else would be able to enter. The void pool was originally a place that helped people gain insight into space. However, everyone who entered would receive different kinds of help. The forbidden void was the most powerful, but it was also the most dangerous. After the Feng people were born, they would have a chance to enter the void pond. However, it had been a long time since anyone was able to activate the void restriction." "Did you activate the forbidden void restriction that time?" Feng Qing asked. Feng Ruyin went to the void pond earlier than Feng Qing. However, the news about the void pond was sealed. Therefore, the Feng people didn't know what she did. However, everyone guessed that she should have activated the forbidden void restriction. However, Feng Ruyin shook her head. "I'm the void mist." The void mist was slightly inferior to the forbidden void restriction. However, it was still the best. After so many years, she was the only one who activated it. "So you're saying that for tens of thousands of years, no one has activated the forbidden void restriction?" Feng Qing was really shocked. His eyes widened. Feng Ruyin smiled. "She's the first. I even said that I would treat your injuries in 2 months. I thought that she should be able to come out in 2 months. It seems like she won't be able to wait. The news from before said that there's nothing wrong for now. I can stay in the clan for a while longer," Feng Ruyin said. Feng Qing understood. She was saying that she wanted to wait for Sima Yue to come out. Feng Ruyin didn't give the order to mute the news. The news of Sima Yue activating the forbidden void restriction in the void pond quickly spread throughout the Feng people. At the same time, the news of Feng Ruyin activating the void mist also spread. This made the people of the Phoenix clan feel a little uncomfortable. An outsider's talent was better than theirs. Where are they going to put their faces? The more the news spread, the more curious everyone was about Sima Yue. They wanted to see what the person who could activate the forbidden void restriction looked like. Sima Yue was in the void pond. She didn't know what was happening outside. She also didn't know that she had become famous in the Feng people. At this moment, she was enduring the pain on her body and the boredom on her mind. Ever since she saw the light, she had been thinking of ways to get closer. However, every time she got closer, the pain on her body would make her relax. The distance between them would be pulled further. It was like taking 100 steps and then going back 99 steps. The good thing was that even though the effect wasn't as good, there was still improvement. Thus, Sima Yue didn't give up. Day after day, she got closer to the light. Soon, Sima Yue watched as the light slowly enlarged. Finally, it enveloped her entire body. She felt extremely comfortable. Looking at the scenery in front of her, it seemed like she was still in the void. However, the feeling was different from before. Previously, she felt like she was just a spectator. However, this time, she felt like she was a part of the void. Unity of heaven and man. This was the highest level of understanding towards the void. The silver water in the void pond moved to the sides, revealing a person who was enveloped by the flowing light. The restriction that enveloped the void pond for the past half a year also disappeared. At this moment, the cauldron bell rang. That distant and ancient sound struck the hearts of every foam people. It made every cell in their body clamor for hope. Sima Yue opened her eyes. She still looked the same as she did half a year ago. However, the feeling she gave off was completely different. The aura on her body was comparable to Feng Ruyan's. Feeling the closeness of the void, Sima Yue's intent moved. She disappeared from the void pond. Without any signs or aura, she appeared at the side of the pond. Aunt Feng. Sima Yue looked at Feng Ruyan and greeted her with a smile. Even though she wasn't sure what was going on, she knew that she had encountered a huge opportunity. And this was brought to her by Feng Ruyan. Even though you used half a year, the effect is still not bad. Cough, cough. Feng Ruyan saw that she was waiting for praise and smiled. Chapter 1565. Sima Yue didn't feel that she had been in the pool for a long time. She was shocked when she heard that it had been 6 months. Now that she saw Feng Ruyan in such a state, she exclaimed, Aunt Feng, your injuries haven't been treated? Is God's scar useless? Not yet. Feng Ruyan smiled and said, Ruyan said she would wait for you. Feng Qing said, I thought that the divine scar had always been watered by your blood. With you around, it would be easier to control it. Since she could spare some time, I'll wait for you. I just didn't expect you to come out so soon. Is half a year considered short? Sima Yue was surprised. Do you know when was the last time this forbidden space was touched? How long did that person take to come out? Sima Yue shook her head. This was Feng people's business. How could she know? However, she knew that Feng Qing wasn't really asking her. The last time the Forbidden Void was opened was tens of thousands of years ago. At that time, that ancestor took nearly a year to come out. Even so, he still became the #1 array master since the beginning of time. The first person to do so since ancient times. This meant that the person's achievements were really very high. At that time, formations and barriers were all at his fingertips. He could teleport tens of thousands of kilometers away. Sometimes I can clearly see him walking, but in the blink of an eye, he is already hundreds of miles away. Feng Qing worshipped that ancestor. He glanced at Sima Yue and said, Even such a talented ancestor took almost a year to come out. Tell me, is your time considered short? Sima Yue smiled, but she was not proud. She didn't think that she was very powerful. She felt that it was mostly because she had comprehended a domain. He was far inferior to that person. No matter what the reason is, the fact that you were able to come out so quickly is also due to your ability. Moreover, the things you comprehend are also yours. Feng Ruyan said indifferently. Sima Yue nodded. She threw away all the unnecessary thoughts. Whatever she realized was hers. She now felt that as long as she was willing, she could become one with space and achieve the true unity of heaven and man. Now, she could directly hide her body in the space without being discovered. You must be tired during this period of time. Go back and rest. Feng Ruyan held her hand and brought her back to her courtyard. As for the people in the clan, they all returned to their own territories. Feng Ruyan asked Sima Yue to rest. Sima Yue didn't decline and returned to her room. Although her mental strength had improved by leaps and bounds during this period of time, and her understanding of space had also increased to the realm of the unity of heaven and man, she was still very tired. As soon as she lay down on the bed, she fell asleep. By the time she woke up, it was already 3 days later. She washed up and went to the courtyard. Knowing Feng Ruyin, she immediately walked over. She didn't expect Feng Qing to be there as well. Seeing that she was hesitating outside the garden, Feng Qing waved at her to come over. "How is your recovery?" Feng Ruyin saw that her complexion was not bad and knew that she should have more or less recovered. "It's already done." Sima Yue sat beside Feng Ruyin. "Since you're done, then let's start treating Ruyin," Feng Qing said. Sima Yue saw that they didn't get up and planned to treat her injuries in the courtyard. She was stunned for a moment. "Here, Ruyin's body is almost done recuperating. The things are also prepared. Most people wouldn't dare to disturb her. Isn't it the same anywhere?" Feng Qing glanced at Sima Yue. With a wave of his hand, a few jade bottles appeared in front of Sima Yue. "These are the pills that I've refined during this period of time. I've added your tree of life, immemorial sacred medicine, and the others in to refine these few pills," Feng Qing said. When Sima Yue heard Feng Qing say all these, she didn't raise any doubts. Compared to an elite like Feng Qing, he was still a little lacking. The first time he met Feng Ruyin, the injuries on her body were so severe, but he was able to suppress her injuries. It wasn't that his medical skills were much better than Feng Qing's, but it was all because of the wonders of the silver needle technique. After that, she taught the silver needle technique to the Feng people. With Feng Qing's talent and medical skills, he naturally learned it thoroughly. Naturally, he was better than Sima Yue in treating Feng Ruyin. Wait for Ruyin to eat the pills. When it starts to take effect, then take the divine scar. When her condition isn't good, you can control the effects of the divine scar, Feng Qing said. Sima Yue was shocked. "We didn't use the divine scar to make medicine?" Feng Qing shook his head and taught her about divine medicine. Divine medicine is different from normal medicine. The effects of using it as medicine is not as good as using it directly. It's just that the effects are more overbearing. Those with weak bodies might not be able to withstand it. Those who can obtain divine medicine are not ordinary people. Naturally, there's no need to consider this. But Aunt Feng's body is so weak. Will she be able to withstand the effects of the medicine? Sima Yue was worried. Of course, she won't be able to withstand it. But aren't I refining these pills with you? Feng Qing wasn't worried at all. Sima Yue saw that he was so confident. She asked about the ingredients of the pills and took Feng Ruyin's pulse before agreeing. The ingredients of the pills, just the Eye of Earth and the Tree of Life, were enough to allow Feng Ruyin's body to withstand half of the effects of the pills, not to mention the other precious ingredients. As for Feng Ruyin's body, under Feng Qing's care for the past few months, she had indeed recovered well. But thinking about how Feng Qing was going to perform acupuncture on Feng Ruyin's body, she couldn't help but take another look at the two of them. Sima Yue didn't have any objections. Feng Qing gave the pills to Feng Ruyin. When Feng Ruyin ate the pills, she didn't feel anything. When she saw the divine scar, she finally became excited, but it was fleeting. Sima Yue looked at Feng Ruyin's calm look and sighed in her heart. The injury that had been trapped for hundreds of years was about to be cured. If it was her, she would probably be extremely excited. But Feng Ruyin's expression was only a little abnormal. After an hour, Feng Qing checked Feng Ruyin's body. After confirming that the pills had taken effect, he opened the divine scar and let her eat it. The divine scar was a fruit that was about the size of a jujube. Feng Ruyin ate it in a few bites. It tasted a little sour and had a refreshing fragrance. It was similar to a fruit. Sima Yue also smelled it. She thought that it was from her own blood, and it should have a thick, bloody smell. Thinking about how such a divine medicine was eaten just like that, she felt a little emotional. But when she thought about how there was another fruit like that in the spirit pagoda, her disappointment disappeared. Other people's divine medicine only had one fruit, but she had two. Although it was one big and one small, it was better than nothing. Chapter 1566. After Feng Ruyin ate the divine scar, she was fine at the start. Suddenly, she frowned and her face turned pale. Large beads of sweat kept dripping down. Ruyin. Feng Qing grabbed Feng Ruyin's hand to check her pulse. Sima Yue was thinking about the other divine scar when she suddenly heard Feng Qing's voice. She immediately came back to her senses and saw Feng Ruyin's uncomfortable look. She also became nervous. The divine scar's medicinal power is running amok in her body. Yue, the rest will depend on you. After Feng Qing finished speaking, he took out another pill and gave it to Feng Ruyin. Sima Yue knew that Feng Ruyin's current state was very dangerous. She grabbed her hand to check on her before injecting her spirit energy into her body through her palm. Aunt Feng, I'll use my spiritual energy to guide the medicinal power in your body. Don't resist. Feng Ruyin nodded slightly. Sima Yue's spirit energy flowed into Feng Ruyin's body through the meridians on her arm. She could feel the energy that was colliding everywhere and tried to control it to make it obedient. Perhaps the divine scar sensed a familiar aura and became less restless, but it didn't stop. Sima Yue was relieved to see that they had quietened down. At the very least, it meant that he was still useful. She tried her best to control them. Although it was difficult, she succeeded in the end. The medicinal power followed her spirit energy to the wounds on Feng Ruyin's body to heal them. Feng Qing saw that Sima Yue's complexion was getting worse and worse, while Feng Ruyin's complexion was getting better. Only then did he heave a sigh of relief. It seemed that waiting for her to come out before using the medicine was the right thing to do. It was just that the child had to suffer. The maidservants had been ordered not to enter the garden, and were all waiting outside. When those elders received the news that Feng Qing was treating Feng Ruyin's injuries, they all rushed over. Feng Qing had set up a barrier outside the garden. They couldn't enter, but they could see the situation inside. Initially, when he saw Feng Ruyin's uncomfortable state, he was extremely worried. However, he could only stay outside and was unable to do anything. When she saw that her condition had stabilized, she was extremely grateful to Sima Yue. It's all thanks to her. Otherwise, Honorable Lord might not have succeeded this time. It's not over yet. Don't celebrate too early. I believe in your honor. He was also very worried just now, but now he looks very relaxed. They all knew Feng Qing's ability. Since he was no longer worried, the others naturally relaxed as well. A day passed by very quickly. Feng Qing would occasionally check Feng Ruyin's pulse and felt that her condition was getting better and better. He knew that he had succeeded this time. Sima Yue's spiritual energy was in Feng Ruyin's body, and she could naturally sense her situation. Although Feng Ruyin's current situation allowed her to control the divine scar, she still didn't come out. After another day, Sima Yue saw that Feng Ruyin's injuries were completely healed and came out from her body. Feng Ruyin also opened her eyes at the same time. Aunt Feng, you finally recovered. Sima Yue smiled at her and fell to one side. Feng Ruyin reached out to hold her and checked her, saying she used up too much mental energy and fainted. Feng Qing took out a pill and fed it to her before Feng Ruyin sent her back to her room. The moment she went out, the Feng people immediately congratulated her. Congratulations, Lord, for recovering. Lower your voice. Don't disturb Yue. Feng Ruyin wasn't particularly excited. Let's go to the meeting room. Maybe it was because she had settled a matter in her heart. Sima Yue slept very comfortably. When she woke up, she felt much more relaxed. As long as she settled the matter in her heart, she wouldn't be so tired anymore. The door opened, and Feng Xiang came in. Seeing Sima Yue with her eyes open, she said happily, "Young miss, you're awake? Young miss? Didn't they call her young Miss Yue before?" Young Miss Yue and young miss were two different statuses. Lord has already announced to the entire clan that you'll be Feng people's young miss in the future. Feng Xiang said with a smile. Where's Aunt Feng? She got down from the bed. Lord left the second day after she recovered. Hearing Feng Xiang's reply, Sima Yue was stunned. Aunt Feng has already left? The matter over there has always been urgent. It's already rare for Lord to stay in the clan for so long. Feng Xiang replied. Originally, when Lord was recovering, she had already sent the news. However, Lord said to wait and see if he would wake up. In the end, you still didn't wake up the second day, so Lord had no choice but to leave. How long have I slept? For days. I slept for so long. Sima Yue was a little surprised. This time, she slept even longer than the last time. Lord said that you have been too tired all these years and have been too tense. Now that you have suddenly settled a matter in your heart is relaxed. The tension in your heart has been loosened. That's why you slept for so long. Feng Xiang looked at Sima Yue with a little heartache. She heard that Sima Yue wasn't even 100 years old, but she had already pushed herself so hard. Sima Yue smiled. It seemed like she really hadn't rested for a long time. All right, Lord said that after you wake up, you should go to his courtyard to look for him. I understand. Sima Yue didn't know where Feng Qing's courtyard was, so she asked Feng Xiang to lead the way. Knowing that Lord Feng had nothing to do with her, Sima Yue wasn't in a hurry. She slowly enjoyed the scenery of Feng people. When the people of Feng people saw her, they all greeted her warmly. Although they didn't like foreigners, they were grateful to her from the bottom of their hearts. If it wasn't for her, Lord Feng wouldn't be able to recover from his injuries. After arriving at Feng Qing's courtyard, Feng Xiang went back. Sima Yue saw Feng Feng and Yuan first. When Feng Feng saw Sima Yue, the coldness in Yuan's eyes lessened a little. You finally woke up, Feng Feng said with a smile. I have never seen someone who can sleep as much as you. Yuan's tone was a little cold, but there was still some concern in her words. After all, Sima Yue was injured because of Lord Feng. Where is Uncle Feng? He is waiting for you in the medicinal herb field. Let's bring you there. Sima Yue followed them to the medicinal herb field. Feng Qing was standing in the medicinal herb field, holding a small hoe, and was loosening the soil for the medicinal herbs. Uncle Feng. Sima Yue walked over. You are finally awake. It's good to have a good sleep. Feng Qing stood up and saw that she was in good condition. Yes. Sima Yue also knew that after waking up this time, her body was in better condition than before. Before Ru Yin left, she asked you to bring some people with you. If those people don't give you the miracle medicine, just snatch it, Feng Qing said. Okay, Sima Yue replied. Let Feng Xiang go with you. They're quite famous outside. In the past, Feng Xiang was in charge of the contact between Feng people and the people below. Okay, then when do you plan to leave? Sima Yue thought for a while and replied, I came here to treat Aunt Feng's injuries. Since she has left, I want to leave now. Chapter 1567. Feng Qing gave her a jade pendant, saying that this jade pendant could mobilize the Feng people and all the forces under them. For example, Xin Yuan Pavilion. Behind her were the Feng people, so when they knew that she had obtained Feng Ru Yan's favor, they were very respectful to her. Sima Yue did not refuse and kept it. Feng Qing went to look for Feng Xiang. Feng Xiang received his orders and brought some people to wait outside Feng Qing's courtyard. If there's anything, contact me. Do whatever you want. As long as you don't turn the world upside down, the Feng people will still support you. Feng Qing patted Sima Yue's shoulder. Thank you, Uncle Feng. Sima Yue smiled and turned to leave. Not to mention asking the Feng people to stand up for her. As long as she typed out their names, it would be a form of protection. When Sima Yue went out, Feng Xiang was already waiting outside with her men. Aunt Xiang, sorry to trouble you. Sima Yue bowed to Feng Xiang and the others. My lord has already instructed us. I didn't expect you to leave so soon. Feng Xiang helped Sima Yue up. Feng people had a lot of cultivation resources. In the past, people who came to Feng people would cultivate before leaving. She thought that Sima Yue would do the same. She did not expect her to leave so soon. I still have some things to take care of. This matter is a little tricky. We might have to rely on Auntie Xiang when the time comes. The Lord has instructed us to listen to the young Mrs. orders when we're outside. Feng Xiang lowered her posture. If that's the case, let's go. Sima Yue ordered. Feng Xiang brought Sima Yue and left the Feng people. Once again, they passed through the long void. Previously, Sima Yue had been unconscious the entire time. This time, at least she was able to stay conscious. After an unknown amount of time, they came out from the void and happened to be in the sky above the Sima family. When the guards sensed that someone had appeared, they did not know whether it was a friend or a foe. They quickly gathered around. When they saw Sima Yue, they were excited. "Little miss, you're back." Sima Yue nodded at them. "Have great-grandfather and the rest returned?" "He came back and went out again," the guard replied. "Where did you go?" "I'm not too sure about that. Young Mrs. Master came to take them away. He's been gone for half a year." Sima Yue asked about the time and found out that she had been on the road for 7 to 8 months. Most of the time, she had been on the road. After she left, there must have been an auction in G City. Her immemorial sacred medicine sold for more than 1 billion high-grade crystal stones. This number shocked Sima Yue. When she heard that it had been bought by the Yang clan, her happiness faded by half. Especially when he heard that the Yang family had also bought other medicinal herbs. His brows furrowed tightly. Previously, the Yang family had been eyeing the immemorial spirit herbs, and it was unknown what they would do with the sacred herbs. She kept having the feeling that the Yang family, wanting these ancient spirit herbs, had something to do with the undead. After the auction, Sima Ji Yuan and the rest returned and did not participate in the undead matter. He Zhenjiang also brought Su Lunyan back after the auction. Not long after, there were rumors that the Yang family had something to do with the undead. Although there was no direct evidence, there were still many people who looked at the Yang family suspiciously. However, not long after Sima Ji Yuan and the rest returned, Feng Zhixing came to look for Sima Yue, but he did not expect her to not be around. After Sima Ji Yuan and the rest received him, they left with their people not long after. "Little miss, maybe young master knows," the guard reminded. "My father." The guard nodded and told her that Feng Zhixing had looked for Sima Luxian before he left. "Aunt Xiang, I'll arrange for your accommodations first." Sima Yue felt that something must have happened for her master to look for her. "No need," Feng Xiang said. "We know that you have a little realm. We'll just go to the little realm. This way, we'll be able to follow you and help you if anything happens." Sima Yue thought for a while and said, "Then I'll have to trouble you." It was not strange that the Feng people knew that she had a little realm, but she believed that they had never thought about it. As the descendants of the God clan, they would not care about a little realm. She asked the guard to leave, then opened the little realm and arranged for Feng Xiang and the rest to enter. Fortunately, the people of Bloodfiend City had built many courtyards over the years. Otherwise, she would be embarrassed to arrange for them to enter. Feng Xiang was a little surprised when she entered the little Black Lotus realm. She did not expect the environment to be so good. It should be one of the better ones in the little realm. Sima Yue arranged for them and went straight to Sima Luxian's courtyard after she went out. "Father." Sima Luxian was playing chess with an old man in the courtyard. When he saw Sima Yue coming in, a smile appeared on his face. "Are you done with the things over there?" Sima family did not know what Sima Yue went to do, but they knew that it was not easy. They were worried about her before, but now that she was back, they knew that she should be done with her work. "It's done. Aunt Feng's injury has been cured. It can be considered that I have been thinking about it for the past few decades." Sima Yue said, "Since you are back, have a good rest." "Father, is there a reason why Master has come? Where did great-grandfather and the rest go?" Sima Yue asked. "He left because of some things." "What's wrong? If it's not related to me, why would Master come to find me?" Chapter 1568. The Chi Spirit was a special creature that he had encountered in the mausoleum. Ordinary spiritual energy wouldn't be able to kill them. Instead, it would increase their strength. Yue wasn't too worried when she thought about that experience. Since Feng Zhixing knew that he had been to the mausoleum, he naturally knew some things about it, as well as the fact that thunder attributes spiritual power and strange fire could be used to deal with Chi spirits. The people that the patriarch took away are all thunder attribute spirit masters in the clan. Sima Lucian said. I guess so too. Sima Yue said. If so, I'm not in a hurry to go. I'm going to rest first. Go ahead. Sima Lucian picked up the chess piece and continued to play chess with the old man. Sima Yue bowed to the two of them and returned to her courtyard. After talking to Mu Si for a while and checking on his recent cultivation situation, he let him go back. Then, she flashed into the spirit pagoda. When Xiao saw her enter, he immediately rushed to her side and grabbed her hair, complaining that she didn't bring him along to play. Sima Yue patted Xiao's head. All right, stop pulling. I'll bring you out this time. Don't go back on your word. Little Lucky harumphed. I won't go back on my word. Sima Yue comforted Little Lucky and brought him to the place where the divine scar was planted. The divine scar was only about a foot tall. Its leaves were thin and long, and in the middle, there was a flower bud. Little Spirit said that there was a seed inside. There was a fruit at the top and a scar on the back of the fruit. Divine medicine generally only had one fruit, but Little Spirit had actually grown two. The two fruits were back to back. Now that one of them had been picked, the other one seemed a little lonely. This should be able to heal Ling Yu's injuries. Aren't you going to keep one for yourself? Little Spirit asked. Sima Yue shook her head. Ling Yu is suffering from this sequela because of me. Although he didn't tell me, I don't think the situation in the demon realm is optimistic. The Demon King wants to kill him. If he happens to be in poor health and something happens to him, I will regret it to death. Since you want it, then give it to me. In any case, with the seed, there's no need to worry about not having the divine medicine. Little Spirit and Mo Sha souls had been together for so long that they had some feelings for each other. Since it could cultivate it once, it could cultivate it a second time. Sima Yue took out a blood-colored jade box. She didn't use her hands to pick the fruit. Instead, she used a pair of jade scissors to cut the fruit and placed it inside the jade box. The moment she cut the fruit, the flower bud that contained the seed began to bloom, revealing the seed inside. The other branches quickly withered, as if all their vitality had been injected into the seed. Little Spirit kept the seeds and prepared to plant the second batch of seeds after refurbishing the soil here. Sima Yue then went to look for Little Seven and Qing Yi. She was a little embarrassed as she asked them for some essence. Qing Yi and Little Seven didn't really care about this. Other than that time with Feng Ruyin, she had never asked them for it. Moreover, even these 2 times, it wasn't for her. Yue brought Little Lucky out of the spirit pagoda and went to the mountain behind the clan. She chose a secluded place and tried to contact the spirit beast that Wu Lingyu had left by her side. This was her first time contacting the other party, and she didn't know if it would work. Not long later, a hole opened in the air and a trace of the Devil Clan's aura came out. Can you help me contact Lingyu? Sima Yue asked. The other party didn't reply. Then can you go and look for him? Sima Yue asked again. My mission is to protect you. This meant that he didn't agree. I'm at home. Nothing will happen. Go and look for him. Sima Yue said. The other party didn't reply. This meant that he didn't agree. Sima Yue wasn't angry. You know the condition of his body, right? If he encounters danger and his body isn't well, then I don't need to tell you what will happen, right? The other party was silent. Sima Yue took out the divine scar that she had prepared. I won't ask you to do anything. You just have to give this to Lingyu. Okay. The other party finally agreed and kept the jade box. The fluctuation in the air quieted down quickly. It seemed that the other party had left. Not long after it left, Sima Qing appeared beside her. Are you all right? Sima Qing felt the devil chi, but he couldn't go near it. Seeing how calm Sima Yue was, he couldn't help but sigh in his heart. What kind of people were by this girl's side? They were all so much stronger than him. I'm fine. Sima Yue shook her head lightly. Are you going to stay at home for a while? Sima Qing sat down beside her. I'm not leaving. In a few months, I'll go to the Xianxiu clan and get the godly medicine. I'll prepare to reconstruct my father's bones. Sima Yue said. Sima Qing wanted to say something, but didn't in the end. Don't worry. As long as those qi spirits have lightning attribute spiritual energy and deviant flames, they can be restrained. If you're worried, you can find some people with deviant flames to help. Sima Yue reminded. If you really can't find anyone, you can look for my 3 senior brothers and sisters. They all have deviant flames. However, if they aren't very strong, you must ensure their safety if you invite them over. If they aren't willing, please don't force them. Sima Qing knew that Sima Yue had been waiting for this moment for the past few years. Nothing could disturb her. To be able to hear her say this, he was very satisfied. In the Sage Pavilion, Wu Lingyu was about to leave. He wanted to see that girl before he left. Suddenly, he felt a strange movement in the air. Didn't I ask you to guard that girl? His voice was cold. She asked me to send something to you. Wu Lingyu raised his eyebrows. Why did that girl think of him? What? Thinking of that girl, his lips curled into a smile. A box was thrown down from the sky. It looked like there were 2 sets of grievances. Wu Lingyu opened the box. Seeing the 3 things inside, his lips curled up even higher. Oomph. That girl said that she was afraid that something would happen to your body when you were in danger. She asked you to eat these and let your soul fuse together. Wu Lingyu's slender fingers rubbed the jade box. After a moment of silence, he said, since that's the case, I won't look for her. Something did happen in the Devil Realm. Tell her that I'll go to the Devil Realm after eating this. I want a time to go there. Originally, there was still some time, but it wasn't enough to see her. He originally wanted to see her, then squeeze some time to go to the Devil Realm. If he wanted to digest this divine medicine now, he wouldn't have the time to look for her. You can give this to that girl. No matter what happens in the future, don't leave her side. The box he took out was swept away by a gust of wind. Following that, the movement in the air disappeared. He looked at the box in his hand and thought of Yue, who was thinking of him. He smiled, opened his little realm, and went in. Chapter 1569. When Sima Yue received Wu Lingyu's gift, her expression was the same as when Wu Lingyu received her gift. He said that he originally wanted to come and see you before going to the Devil Realm. However, with your divine medicine, he had to go and recuperate first because he couldn't come and see you. When Sima Yue heard this, the smile on her face disappeared. She asked in a low voice, did something big happen in the Devil World? If it wasn't for the fact that this trip to the Devil Realm was extremely dangerous, he wouldn't have given up on meeting me to recuperate. The fact that he made such a decision means that the situation must be very serious. Sima Yue said. She wondered if she could be of any help to him. The other party was silent for a long time before finally saying, as long as you're fine, he'll be fine. After that, there was no more movement. Sima Yue knew that Wu Lingyu would ignore her. She thought about how Wu Lingyu's body should be fully recovered after using God's scar. If his body recovered, his strength would also recover. When he went to the Devil Realm, it would be safer. After thinking it through, she relaxed and opened the box in her hands. As expected, it was the Sage Pavilion's Phoenix Nirvana. This guy, he just sent the divine medicine to me like that. He didn't even do it himself. She had no idea how he got his hands on it. It won't be easy. Although she was scolding him, her face was filled with happiness. She closed the box and went to find Sima Lucian to show him the Phoenix Nirvana. The Phoenix Nirvana was a red fruit that resembled a ball of flame. When placed in the palm of his hand, he could feel a scorching heat. Father, I've already obtained the Phoenix's Nirvana. Once I obtain the Xin Qiu clan's rebirth from the flames, I'll heal you. You'll definitely recover. Sima Yue said excitedly. Sima Lucian was relatively calm after seeing the Phoenix Nirvana for the first time. He reached out and patted Sima Yue's head, his heart aching as he said, Father's heart aches to see you so tired. Father, it's okay for me to suffer a little now, as long as our family can be reunited. Sima Yue leaned on Sima Lucian's arm. Father, I've always heard people say that you and Master's talents are so good. Now that I see Master's power, I'll let Father regain his glory. Nonsense. Sima Lucian heard her adjective and poked her forehead with his finger. Sima Yue smiled and rubbed against his shoulder. In the following few months, news of black-robed men, undead, and chi spirits kept coming. After Sima Yu heard about it, she was extremely worried. However, as long as the Sima clan was fine, she did not plan to go out and go into seclusion to deal with her own matters. Sima Yu calculated that the 5 years were almost up, so she came out of the spirit pagoda. She didn't expect to hear bad news the moment she came out. Yu to you. Yu to came to Yu. Old ancestor, what's wrong? Sima Yu saw his anxious face. I just received news that the situation over there has become serious. Some of our clansmen are trapped. That includes your senior sister and the rest. A few months ago, Sima Qing went to find Su Xiao and the rest after hearing Sima Yoyue's words. When Su Xiao and the rest heard that the Sima family sent them, they agreed to follow them. Sima Yue heard about it the last time she came out. She didn't expect to hear that they were in danger when she came out again. Senior sister and the rest have deviant flames. How could they be trapped? She was surprised. Something must have happened. Sima Qing said, "Then why did you ask me to go? It seems like your senior brother said that you can only resolve the crisis they are facing now if you go." Sima Qing said, "I think it might be because of your vermilion bird flame. Can't the ordinary deviant flames deal with those chi spirits?" Sima Yue frowned. "If that was the case, it would be troublesome. I know that you are waiting for the Xianxiu clan, but this time the clans matter." Sima Yue saw that Sima Qing was in a difficult position. "Old ancestor, don't worry. I will go save my clansmen first, then go to the Xianxiu clan. If anyone comes to the clan to find me, let the clansmen tell them the truth. I've already given the order. Come with me now." Sima Qing opened the space tunnel and brought Sima Yue in. Sima Yue could feel that this matter was more urgent because Sima Qing actually gave up on taking the spaceship. He had been using his spirit energy to walk through the space tunnel. When they came out, Sima Qing's spirit energy was almost depleted. "Old ancestor, how are you?" Sima Yue saw that Sima Qing's expression was not good and asked worriedly. "I'm fine. We'll be there soon." Sima Qing said, "I'll take the rest of the journey." Sima Yue grabbed Sima Qing's hand and flew towards the destination. Sima Qing felt that he was surrounded by a gentle energy and looked at Sima Yue in surprise. He could feel that the space tunnel she built was more stable than his. He could also see that she was very relaxed, as if she was one with the space. Boom! When Sima Yue and Sima Qing came out, they heard the sound of a battle. They turned their heads and saw a group of people fighting with some monsters. The sound just now was the sound of a thunder attribute spirit technique. However, it was obvious that this person was not very strong. The thunder and lightning that he condensed had no effect on the chi spirits. Those are the Yin clan. Sima Qing recognized them at a glance. There don't seem to be many thunder attribute spirit masters in the Yin clan. Sima Yue recognized a lady in the crowd and called out to Yin Susu. Seeing that she was about to be injured by the chi spirits, she quickly conjured a tiring spell. Yin Susu had already seen the monster's sharp claws and knew that they would not be able to escape today. However, she was unwilling to close her eyes. She saw that the claws were only a few centimeters away from her and saw that it was struck by the sudden lightning. One after another, the lightning struck the chi spirits, turning them into balls of spirit energy. The Yin clan members were stunned by this turn of events and immediately became excited. Although they did not see clearly who saved them, they were sure that they would be saved today. Sima Yoyue's thunder and lightning carried top-grade purple lightning. Even if it was a small spirit technique, it could still strike the chi spirits apart. Since it had such an effect, she was not willing to waste it. She only used a little bit of spirit energy to destroy the dozens of chi spirits. Yin Susu then saw clearly that the person who helped them was Sima Yue. She walked over and said gratefully, "Thank you." "It's nothing." Sima Yue smiled. "Miss Yin, why are you here?" "We found a tomb nearby, so we came to take a look." "Not only us, many people came here," Yin Susu said. "However, not many survived." Chapter 1570. Sima Yue understood that if the Yin family of the 49 states was forced to such a state by the Qi spirits, the other powers would be even more miserable. However, those Qi spirits were a little strange. They seemed to be different from the ones she had met before. What was different about them? Miss Yue, before we came out, we saw that the Sima family was also trapped. In Susu reminded her. Sima Yue came back to her senses and smiled gratefully at In Susu. You guys go back to the city first. I'll go look for them. After speaking, she looked at Sima Qing. He didn't have the lightning attribute, and he was so tired. Why not go back and rest together? Unexpectedly, Sima Qing spoke first. I won't do anything if we meet Qi spirits, but if we meet humans, I'll still be of some use. Sima Yue rolled her eyes in her heart. Even old ancestor was of some use. She would probably be killed instantly. However, he was also worried about her safety, so he didn't say anything. They bade farewell to the Yin family and flew towards the direction where the Sima family was trapped according to the direction they gave them. She didn't know what method Sima Qing used to bring her to the trapped Sima family. A group of Qi spirits surrounded a group of people in the middle. Those people had no choice but to use an array to block them outside. Sima Yue looked around. Other than Sima Zhiyuan and the others, there was also Jiang Junxian, Han Miao Shuang, and Su Xiao Xiao. Although they had only been separated for 7 to 8 years, including the time she spent in the Spirit Pagoda, she felt that she hadn't seen them for a long time. They hid in the array, and the deviant fire circled around the array. Those Qi spirits didn't dare to come forward and could only guard outside. One Qi spirit got impatient and slapped the array master. Its claws were burned by the deviant fire. Sima Yue saw this scene and frowned even more. Old ancestor, these Qi spirits are a little strange. How is it strange? Sima Qing had never encountered Qi spirits before and didn't have a comparison, so he couldn't see anything unusual. The ones we met before weren't this strong, but these seemed to be controlled by someone. Sima Yue said, controlled by someone? In that case, these Qi spirits weren't born by chance? Sima Qing's heart sank. If these were all man-made, then it meant that someone was behind this. Recently, the continent had not been peaceful. All kinds of mysterious forces had emerged. Was there really going to be chaos? Sima Yue told him about the formation of Qi spirits. She could not think of anything else other than man-made. I think that if you want to control these Qi spirits, you can't be too far away. Old ancestor, leave this place to me. Go around and see if you can find anything. Sima Yue said. Sima Qing knew that there was no use for him to stay here. If the Qi spirit attacked him, his counterattack would only make the other party stronger. He nodded and turned to leave. Sima Yue flew over. Some Qi spirits discovered her and immediately attacked her. You're courting death. Sima Yue snorted coldly. With the vermilion bird's flames around her, the Qi spirits felt threatened and subconsciously retreated. She stretched out both hands with her palms facing upwards. Lightning attribute spirit energy gathered in her hands. Purple lightning flashed, causing the sky to change color and dark clouds to gather. Those Qi spirits could not make a sound, but when they saw the dark clouds above their heads, their eyes flashed with fear. Ha! Lightning with top-grade purple lightning struck down from the sky. Heaven and earth shook. Those Qi spirits turned into spirit energy in the purple light and finally dissipated. Its junior sister, Han Miao Shuang, saw Sima Yue and cried out excitedly. Their spirit energy was almost depleted, and they were completely relying on the array and the deviant flame to support themselves. When they saw Sima Yue, they knew that they were saved this time. When those Qi spirits dispersed, Sima Yue asked Little Birdie to help. Very quickly, the surrounding Qi spirits were all eliminated. Sima Zhiyuan removed the array and looked at Sima Yue with relief. They knew that as long as she came, they would be saved. Yue, why did you come so quickly? Huang Yingying looked at Sima Yue. It had only been a few days since they sent the news back. How did she come here? Old ancestor brought me here. Sima Yue said. She saw Han Miao Shuang coming out from behind and smiled at her. Junior sister, Haha, I knew that as long as you came, we would not be in danger. Han Miao Shuang ran over and hugged Sima Yue excitedly. Sima Yue was infected by her excitement, and the smile on her face widened. I knew that you guys asked me to come. Sima Yue patted her shoulder. It's all because of me that you guys are in such a dangerous situation. How could I not come? The Sima family knew about the 5-year agreement and knew how important Sima Luxian was to her. They knew that she did not come out during this period because she was waiting for the Xianqiu family. So they would not take the initiative to ask her to come over. Her thoughts were more or less the same. The Sima family did not think of asking Sima Yue to come over at first. Although they knew that she was powerful, they did not know that she had lightning attribute spiritual energy. They had never seen little birdie and did not have any impression of it. It was Han Miao Shuang who thought of Sima Yue and told Sima Ji Yuan and the others. At that time, only Sima Yue would have a solution if she came. Sima Ji Yuan and the others heard Han Miao Shuang's suggestion and sent a message to the family with the intention of giving it a try. They did not expect her to come over a few days later. This meant that the family was still very important to her. Thinking of this, the Sima family was in a good mood. Hey, we haven't seen each other for a few years, and you know how to be so polite to your senior sister? Are you not going to acknowledge me as your senior sister? Han Miao Shuang heard Sima Yue's words and let go of her. She reached out and pinched her face, looking a little angry. Sima Yue quickly smiled and explained, How can I do that? Aren't you always my dear senior sister? As she spoke, she even grabbed Han Miao Shuang's arm and shook it, not embarrassed at all. No matter what status or strength they had now, Han Miao Shuang and the others were still the same in her heart. They were still her senior brothers and senior sisters who took care of her. She would always be their junior sister. There was nothing to be embarrassed about when she acted coquettishly. However, when the Sima family saw this side of Sima Yue, their eyes widened. In their eyes, Sima Yue was omnipotent and unreachable. They did not expect her to have such a cute side. Han Miao Shuang saw Sima Yue acting coquettishly and her heart softened. She rarely acted coquettishly in front of them. She was always too independent, causing them to lose the prestige of senior sister in front of her. It's good that you remember. If you say something like this again, what would happen? She could not threaten her. It seemed like nothing could threaten her. After a while, Sima Qing came back with a man covered in blood. Chapter 1571. Sima Qing came in front of them and threw the man on the ground in disgust. He even took out a handkerchief to wipe his hands. The Sima family members looked at the man on the ground and asked, Old ancestor, this is... You said that the Qi spirits seemed to be controlled by someone and that they were not too far away. She asked me to go nearby to take a look. When the Qi spirits were destroyed, I happened to see this guy and brought him back. Sima Qing said in disgust. Did you injure this person? Sima Qing shook his head. He was already like this when I saw him. He must have suffered from a backlash. Sima Yu saw that the man was half dead and used her divine sense to check his sea of consciousness, but found that it was empty. She stood up in disappointment and said, Their sea of consciousness is broken. It should be related to the Qi spirits. If the Qi spirits are here, they are here. If the Qi spirits are gone, their sea of consciousness will be broken as well. It should be to prevent this from happening. Sima Ji Yuan said, Since the sea of consciousness was broken, this person was useless. Sima Yu ignited a ball of fire and burned him to ashes. Then she looked at everyone and said, You guys take a rest first, then tell me about the situation here. They returned to the city and found an inn to stay. Sima Yu guessed that they had been in a tense state for the past few days and should be resting now. She did not disturb them and walked around the streets to see if she could find any news. She walked around and heard that there were many treasures in the ancient tombs, but they were guarded by the Qi spirits and could not get close to anything. She sighed in her heart. These people were like that. No matter how many people died, they would always think of those treasures. They probably did not know as much about the Qi spirits as Han Miao Shuang and the others. She walked around and did not hear anything else, so she went back. She stayed outside for half a day. When she went back, she heard that they were still resting, so she went back to her room and took out a book to read. The 5-year period was just a few days away. She did not know if the Xianxiu family had sent anyone to look for her. If they knew that she was not around, would they think that she had missed the appointment? When she came out, she put Sima Lu Xian in the little realm, thinking that she would treat him as soon as she got another kind of divine medicine. If Xianxiu, he's men, couldn't find her, then she could only go to the Xianxiu clan herself. The Xianyuan Pavilion should know the location of the Xianxiu clan. Tock, tock, tock. A knock on the door interrupted her thoughts. She put away her worries and got up to open the door. Seeing the 3 people standing outside, a smile appeared on her face. Senior brothers, senior sisters, have you all rested well? I've taken some pills and rested for a day. I'm almost fully recovered. Han Miaoshuang entered the house and saw a book on armament refining on the table, saying, "Little junior sister, are you dabbling in armament refining now?" "Yes, due to some reasons, I have no choice but to learn how to refine weapons." Sima Yue did not keep the handbook, but turned around to serve tea to the 3 of them. Little junior sister's tea is so fragrant. Su Xiaoxiao took a sip and sighed. Sima Yue smiled. "Senior brother, how's the situation in the valley?" They've already opened a shop in the inner region. They encountered some difficulties, but they were all solved by Uncle Bai and the others. Now they've settled down in the inner region, Su Xiaoxiao said. "That's good." Sima Yue nodded. Seeing that Jiang Junxian had fallen asleep on Han Miaoshuang's shoulder, she shook her head helplessly. "Yue, take a look at Junxian. He's been dozing off more and more recently. Most of the time, he can't be woken up. I'm worried about his body." Han Miaoshuang tilted her head and glanced at Jiang Junxian. Her eyes were filled with worry. Sima Yue knew that Jiang Junxian had been poisoned in the past. Previously, she heard that the poison had been cured, so she didn't check Jiang Junxian's body. Now that she heard what Han Miaoshuang said, she was a little worried. "Senior brother, let me take a look at you." She came to Jiang Junxian's side. She knew that he was usually very alert, so she grabbed his wrist after speaking. Jiang Junxian's body moved, but he didn't pull it out, nor did he attack her. Sima Yue took Jiang Junxian's pulse, and her face darkened. "Yue." Han Miaoshuang moved her mouth, but when she saw Sima Yue shaking her head at her, she swallowed the rest of her words. Sima Yue switched to the other hand and continued to take his pulse. Later on, she transferred her spirit energy into his body to check. Su Xiaoxiao and Han Miaoshuang glanced at each other and saw the worry in each other's eyes. After a long while, Sima Yue finally withdrew her spirit energy. She told Su Xiao to carry Jiang Junxian to the bed. Then, she took out a silver needle and pierced it into his neck. Feeling that Jiang Junxian had fallen into a deep sleep, Su Xiao pulled Sima Yue and asked, "Junior sister, what's wrong with Junxian?" Although senior brother's previous poison has been completely cured, his nerves were injured when he was poisoned, leaving behind this kind of sequelae. Sima Yue said, "We all know this, but why is the situation more serious?" Han Miaoshuang asked anxiously. His nerve had been deteriorating all these years. "It's because it's deteriorating even more now." Sima Yue said, "Is there a way to treat it?" Su Xiaoxiao asked. "It's not that there isn't a way." Sima Yue said, "It's just that it's not easy. No matter how hard it is, we have to try." Han Miaoshuang clenched her fists and looked at Jiang Junxian with determination. "Cough, cough, senior sister, it's not as serious as you think. You don't have to be like this. I won't let you go through hell." Sima Yue teased her when she saw her expression. "Really?" Han Miaoshuang didn't believe it. "Your expression was so scary just now. It looks like the situation is serious, but you said it's not easy. Why are you saying it's not serious now?" "I said it's troublesome. Not that the treatment is difficult. It's just that the process is more troublesome." Sima Yue said. "Really?" Han Miaoshuang still couldn't believe it. "It's more real than a pearl." Sima Yue said with a smile. "How is it troublesome?" Su Xiaoxiao asked. "As long as it's not, that there's no way." It's a long process, and I'll have to observe his condition and adjust the treatment plan. Sima US said, I might have to change the prescription many times in the process. This isn't a big deal. The main thing is that you have to be with me for the next few years. Han Miao Shuang finally believed her after hearing what she said. We'll be with you if we're with you. It's the same no matter where the three of us are. Su Xiao said. Yes, as long as Jun Xian's illness can be cured, anything is fine. Anyway, there will be a lot of surprises if we follow Junior Sister. Han Miao Shuang said. Sima Yue hesitated. What's wrong? Sima Yue thought for a while and said, I have something to deal with recently. It's a little dangerous. If you follow me, you might be in danger. Chapter 1572. Su Xiao and Han Miao Shuang were shocked when they heard that she was in danger. Junior Sister, what are you going to do? Su Xiao asked with a sullen face. They hadn't heard her say that she had something dangerous to do before. If it wasn't for this, would she not have told them? Sima Yue hesitated for a moment and told them that she was going to the Xian Xiu clan to get the divine medicine. The Xian Xiu clan is a hidden clan. I'm afraid it won't be easy to get the divine medicine from them. Let's see if Xian Xiu he can get the divine medicine, and if he will keep his promise. Su Xiao said, I believe that he will keep his promise, but I'm not sure if he will be able to obtain the divine medicine. Sima Yue trusted Xian Xiu, his character. However, regardless of whether Xian Xiu clan will give me the divine medicine, I have to get it. Then all the more we have to follow you. Han Miao Shuang said, How can we just stand by and do nothing when you're in trouble? Regardless of whether you treat Jun Xian or not, we will follow you. But no buts. Han Miao Shuang said firmly. You said before that you wanted to come back. It's not good for us to participate in the clan's matters, so we can't say anything. However, this matter is so dangerous. We are your senior brothers and sisters. How can we let you take the risk alone? Sima Yue looked at Han Miao Shuang and Su Xiao. Both of them had the same expression. There was no room for discussion. Thinking about Feng Xiang and the others in the little realm, even if this trip was dangerous, it shouldn't be life-threatening. He nodded and said, All right then, I can treat Senior Marshal Brother's illness. Seeing that she agreed, both of them heaved a sigh of relief. This junior sister was usually the most difficult to talk to. He originally thought that it would take a lot of effort to persuade her, but this time she agreed quite quickly. After settling this matter, Han Miao Shuang started to worry about Jiang Jun Xian. Junior sister, why hasn't Jun Xian woken up yet? In the past, when he slept, he didn't really sleep. He was just mentally exhausted. Now that I've put him in a deep sleep, he is truly resting. Sima Yue said, How long will that take? Let him sleep for a night, Sima Yue said. I'll perform acupuncture on him later, and then I'll nurse him back to health. Little junior sister, if you want to refine any pills, you can tell us. Han Miao Shuang said, If I can let you guys do it, I definitely won't do it myself. Sima Yue said with a smile, looking at Han Miao Shuang with eyes full of smiles. Little junior sister. Han Miao Shuang was embarrassed by her stare. She flew into a rage out of humiliation, as if she wanted to hit her. Senior sister, I'm going to give senior brother the acupuncture treatment. If you hit me, my hand will hurt and the needle won't be stable. Senior brother will be the one who will suffer. After Sima Yu said that, Han Miao Shuang unwillingly put down her raised hand. She glared at Yue and snorted. I'll deal with you later. Sima Yue wasn't afraid of her. She let Han Miao Shuang take off Jiang Jun Xian's clothes, leaving only his underwear. She was so embarrassed that her face turned red. Sima Yue glanced at her and said, Senior sister, you've been with senior brother for so long. Don't tell me you haven't. We said we'll get married after we find master. Han Miao Shuang lowered her head, her face full of shyness. Speaking of Su Jin, Sima Yue didn't have the mood to joke anymore. She nodded and said, After I treat my father's injury, we'll go find master. Of course, master has been gone for so many years. Although we know that his life isn't in danger, he hasn't contacted us. I'm a little worried that Master's trapped. Sima Yue said guiltily. It was all because of her that Su Jin and Gulang went missing for so long. Thinking of this, and thinking about how she couldn't find them because of various things, she felt very guilty. Little junior sister, Master won't blame you, Su Xiao said. Sima Yue smiled. I'll do acupuncture for senior brother first. Because Jiang Junxian's nerves were injured, she only inserted a few needles into his body. But from his neck up, it was densely packed with needles. Han Miaoshuang's heart twitched when she saw it. Wouldn't his head be pierced into a sieve? There weren't many needles this time, but because it was close to the brain, Sima Yue spent more energy than before. Fortunately, her mental strength had improved a lot these years. Adding on the experience in a void pond, she didn't feel too uncomfortable, but her forehead was soaked with sweat. After that, she took Jiang Junxian's pulse. She took out a pill formula and a bunch of herbs and handed it to Han Miaoshuang. This is the pill formula and herbs. Go and refine the pill for senior brother. Han Miaoshuang took the herbs and pill formula and returned to the room. Su Xiao saw that there was nothing else and planned to carry Jiang Junxian back. Senior brother, wait. I have something to ask you. Sima Yue stopped him. What's wrong, junior sister? Sima Yue pulled him to the table and sat down, saying, I saw that those chi spirits were a little different from the ones we met before. I want to ask you if you have any thoughts. Speaking of chi spirits, Su Xiao wasn't in a hurry to leave because he also felt that it was a little strange. After that, he told her what happened after they came here. Sima Yue's heart trembled when she heard it. She was glad that she sent someone to invite her senior brother and senior sister over. That day, after she told Sima Qing about Su Xiao and the others, he immediately sent someone to invite them over and sent them directly to Sima Ji Yuan. After knowing that they were Sima Yue's senior brother and senior sister, and that they had deviant flames, they brought them along when they went out. Later on, it was proven that their actions were very clear. Although the spirit masters they chose were of the lightning attribute, or had contracted spirit masters with lightning attributes, they didn't have much use here. Although the spirit beasts that were struck by lightning wouldn't grow in strength, they couldn't be completely eliminated. Only Su Xiao and the others' deviant flames could kill chi spirits, and those chi spirits were much more powerful than the ones they came into contact with before. They also had spirituality when they attacked. This was probably why Sima Yue said that someone was controlling them. Because of the three of them, the Sima family suffered the least damage in this incident. Sima Yue fell silent after hearing it. Lightning attribute spirit power couldn't completely eliminate the chi spirits. Just this point alone was enough to give everyone a headache. Although the chi spirits that were killed by lightning attributes wouldn't grow in strength, they could be revived quickly. However, a spirit master's spirit power couldn't be recovered so easily. If they fought with chi spirits, their spirit power would be exhausted sooner or later. When eldest senior brother wakes up, let's go to the ancient tomb to take a look and see what exactly caused the chi spirits to become like this. Since she couldn't figure out the reason, she might as well go and take a look. Maybe she could find something. She knew that if she said that she was going alone, they would definitely not agree. She might as well go together. Anyway, they had deviant flames in their hands. In addition to her top-grade purple lightning and little birdie, there wouldn't be any danger. What Yue didn't know was that not long after she left the clan, someone came looking for her. After knowing that she wasn't in the clan, the other party didn't say anything and left immediately. Chapter 1573. The next day, Jiang Junxian, who had slept for a night, opened his eyes. After sleeping for so many years, this was the most comfortable sleep he had ever had. Eldest senior brother, you're awake. Sima Yue was facing Jiang Junxian. She saw in the moment he woke up. Jiang Junxian sat up on the bed and noticed that his clothes were different. What happened to me? You're sick. I gave you an injection. How did you sleep last night? Sima Yue went over and took his pulse. You're okay. Senior sister didn't refine pills for you in vain. So junior sister took a look at me. No wonder I slept so well. Where's Miao Shuang? Jiang Jun Xian asked. I sent you pills in the morning. Seeing that she was tired, I let her go back to rest. Sima Yue said. She originally planned to wait for Jiang Jun Xian to wake up before going to the tomb. Now it seemed that she had to delay it for half a day. Senior brother, you should go back and rest too. Sima Yue said to Su Xiao Xiao. They chatted for the whole night. Although spirit masters didn't need to sleep, they couldn't leave now. They might as well rest well before leaving. Su Xiao Xiao glanced at Jiang Jun Xian, nodded and left. Sima Yue told Jiang Jun Xian about his situation and how to treat him. Jiang Jun Xian didn't have any thoughts about his situation. It was fine to follow her. Knowing that she was going to Xianqiu clan, he had the same thoughts as Su Xiao Xiao and the others. Since it was such a dangerous thing, they naturally wanted to go with her. Sima Yue said in her heart that she knew it. She let Jiang Jun Xian go to see Han Miao Shuang while she went to look for the Sima family. Huang Ying and the others knew that she was treating Jiang Jun Xian in the house, so they didn't disturb her. They didn't expect her to look for them. Grandpa, Grandma, I want to go to the tomb. Sima Yue directly told them the purpose of her visit. Why are you going to the tomb? Although there are many treasures in the tomb, it's too dangerous. Huang Ying thought of the previous experience and had some lingering fear. Grandma, didn't I say that the Qi spirits were different? I will go and see if there is anything different about the mausoleum. Sima Yue said, logically speaking, the weakness of all Qi spirits should be the same, but these Qi spirits can't be completely destroyed by lightning attribute spiritual energy. There must be some other reason. That's too dangerous. Only those who had experienced it knew how frightening that mausoleum was. Grandma, don't worry. I don't like those Qi Lingnai. Sima Yue held Huang Ying's hand and said, I have the purple lightning and little birdie. I'll be fine. Look, didn't I kill those Qi spirits yesterday? They're not afraid of ordinary lightning, but they are afraid of my top-grade purple lightning. Be careful. It would be best if we can find out the reason. If we can't, don't force it. Just be careful. Sima Xiuqi warned. I know. Sima Yue smiled at Sima Xiuqi. Grandpa was more straightforward than Grandma. How's your senior brother? It's a little troublesome. It'll take a long time for treatment, so he might have to follow me from now on. Sima Yue said. But aren't you going to the Xianqiu clan? Yeah. When they heard that I was going, they said they wanted to follow me. I thought that since Aunt Feng's people were there shouldn't be any problems. I'll just bring them along and treat senior brother. Sima Yue said. That's right, Grandpa. I heard from the old ancestor that you were brought here by my master. Why don't I see Master and the others? Although we came here together, we separated after arriving here. That's why I haven't seen them. Sima Xiuqi replied. However, I think they should be fine. I see that there are people in their group who have deviant flames. Sima Yue was relieved when she heard that they had deviant flames. However, she still had to make sure that they were not in danger. After leaving Sima Xiuqi's room, she sent out a large number of scarlet bees, hoping that they would be able to find Feng Zhixing's whereabouts. It was a sleepless night. The scarlet bees were indeed experts in gathering information. When dawn broke, they brought news of Feng Zhixing to Sima Yue. However, this was not good news. After listening to the scarlet bees, Sima Yue sighed and knocked on Han Miao Shuang's door. After half an hour, Yue and the other three left the city gate and flew towards the direction of the tomb. Little junior sister, you said that your master and the others went to the tomb? Is this news reliable? Han Miao Shuang was worried that this was a trap set by someone. After all, this matter was even stranger than the last time. It's the news from the scarlet bees. It should be reliable. Sima Yue understood what she meant. However, she was just a small spirit master. Why would those people spend so much effort to deal with her? They set up such a huge trap and even got the scarlet bees to tell her. This was too unbelievable. Moreover, those people would not know where the scarlet bees would go to gather information. No matter if it's a trap or not, it's always good to be careful. I think that time in the outer area, we must have accidentally broken their plan in advance. That's why the person controlling it didn't have time to take action. I think that the person behind this is not simple. Su Xiao reminded. To form the Qi spirit, it not only requires a place with great danger, but also a long wait. So, we can rule out the general forces. I think that the possibility of it being the hidden clans is higher. Jiang Junxian leaned on Han Miaoshuang's shoulder and said sleepily. Sima Yue thought so too. Other forces did not have such a background. Then what do you think about the undead? They had some understanding of the undead and should have their own opinions. Undead. The Yang clan does not have such ambition and ability. Jiang Junxian sat up. They must have colluded with someone behind this. I think that this matter is probably related to the Ghost Clan as well. The method to create the undead should have been passed down from the Ghost Realm. Su Xiao guessed. Sai, I hope that the people behind the undead and the Qi spirit are not the same group of people. Han Miaoshuang sighed. I think that the possibility of them being the same group of people is not high. However, they're not easy to deal with. Jiang Junxian rubbed his temples. This world was really a little messy. Sima Yue was also a little worried. In this chaotic world, it was better to increase one's strength. Little junior sister, since the Scarlet Bees found out that your master and the others were at the tomb, did they find out where exactly they are? Su Xiao asked. Sima Yue shook her head. Those people only met master and the others when they were returning to the city. They don't know where exactly they went. This tomb is very big. If we don't know the exact location, it's not easy to find. We'll see when we get there. Sima Yue replied. When they reached the tomb, her brows furrowed together unconsciously. Chapter 1574. Han Miaoshuang and the others didn't know anything about arrays. When they saw Sima Yue acting this way, they knew that there was a problem. Junior sister, what's wrong? Su Xiao asked. Sima Yue sighed and said, the feng shui here is similar to the last one. It was also a place of great fortune, but someone changed it into a place of great misfortune. Is there any difference? Jiang Junxian asked. If it was the same as last time, the Qi spirit wouldn't be different. Sima Yue nodded. This time, the array has been modified and lightning elements have been added in. Moreover, the traces of the change were not long ago. I think it must have been changed after the Qi spirit was discovered. So those Qi spirits can be reborn after being struck by lightning. There isn't a lot of lightning element here. It's just a small increase in the Qi spirit's ability to adapt to lightning element. However, if it encounters some powerful lightning, it can still be destroyed directly. It was not just her top-grade purple lightning. If those people's cultivation methods were high enough, they could also destroy Qi spirits. She called out many scarlet bees and ordered, look around and see if you can find my master and the others. The scarlet bees flapped their little wings and flew away. Let's enter the tomb and take a look. Sima Yue said to the other three. All right. They all had deviant flames. If not for protecting others, they would be able to come and go freely in the mausoleum. Jiang Junxian and the others had entered the mausoleum before, so they quickly found the entrance. As soon as he entered, what he saw was neither Qi spirits nor treasures. Instead, he saw piles of corpses and bones. The entire tomb was dyed red with blood. He clearly knew that there was danger in here, but in order to obtain the treasure, he still ended up like this. Sima Yue sighed and released a ball of flame, burning all the corpses into ashes. The flame returned to her hand, which was full of space rings. Su Xiao and the others couldn't help but laugh when they saw her actions. Even though she had so many treasures, she still wouldn't let these go. Just now, he was seriously lamenting that these people valued money more than their lives. Sima Yue could tell what they were thinking. She waved the space ring in her hand and said, I'm different from them. If I knew that I would die, I wouldn't have come in. I love money, but I love life even more. I'll keep this for now, and we'll split it later. I hope there are some good things inside. The three senior brothers didn't have any objections. They weren't very interested in these people's things, unless there were medicinal herbs that they needed. Let's go inside and take a look, The deeper they went, the more curious they became. Along the way, apart from corpses, they didn't see a single treasure, nor did they see a single chi spirit. Could it be that those guys know that they can't deal with us, so they hid? Ha Miao Shuang guessed. Very likely. If these are all controlled by humans, then they should know that Junior's sister is their nemesis. Su Xiao felt that this was very likely. Looks like we won't be able to find anything this time. Let's go back then. Since it was useless, he didn't want to waste any more time. Jiang Junxian and the others also thought so. After they left the tomb, Qi Feng sent a message saying that he had found the whereabouts of Feng Zhixing and the others. Just as Yue was about to go over, there was a strange movement in the space. Then a spatial tunnel opened and a group of people walked out. Master! Sima Yue saw the man in the lead and ran over happily. Seeing the bloodstains on his body, she grabbed his arm and asked, "You're injured?" Feng Zhixing saw that Sima Yue was so nervous. He patted her hand and said, "This is someone else's blood. What's going on? Didn't you say that you have deviant flames? Why? The ones who hurt us weren't chi spirits, but other forces. They have a grudge with us, so they were a little more ruthless." Feng Zhixing said, "The other party had a lot of people, so we were at a disadvantage. It's all thanks to them that we were able to destroy the other party." Sima Yue saw the people who didn't speak after they came out, and asked curiously, "Why are you guys here?" Sima Yue was familiar with one of them. It was the guard who went to the ancient mine with Xian Xiuhe. "We were ordered by young master to go to the Sima family to pick you up. We heard that you were here, so we came over. We didn't expect to see your master and the others trapped. It was all thanks to young Master Feng and Miss Yue at the ancient mine that we helped. This is one of the clan's elders, Xian Xiuminglang. He's also here to pick up Miss Yue." The guard said, "The elders of the hidden tribes must be quite powerful. This meant that the one who helped this time should be this elder. Thank you, Elder Minglang, for your help." Sima Yue bowed to the elder. "Miss Yue, you don't have to be so polite. You saved so many people in my Xian Xiu family last time. This is nothing." Xian Xiuminglang waved his hand, his honest face smiling amiably. "How did you know we were here?" Jiang Junxian suddenly asked. "We came to pick up Miss Yue, so we naturally have a way to find out where she is." Xian Xiuminglang replied, "Miss Yue, the 5-year agreement is up. I wonder if you can leave with us?" Before we left, young master told us that time is of the essence. If we're late, the situation might change. Sima Yue's heart skipped a beat. The situation had changed. Was he talking about the divine medicine? "I have to go back and talk to my clan before I can leave." "All right, then we'll go back with you," Xian Xiuminglang said. They returned to the city. Before Feng Zhixing left, Sima Yue called him to one side and used a barrier to wrap the two of them. "Master, it's better that you don't get involved in this chi spirit matter," Sima Yue said. "Why?" "I went to the tomb to take a look. Those chi spirits are not afraid of lightning attribute spiritual energy, and there's someone controlling them. If there's no nemesis, it's too dangerous to get involved. Also, there are no treasures in the tomb, nor are there any inheritances. To put it bluntly, it's just an empty shell," Sima Yue said. Feng Zhixing's eyes narrowed slightly. Sima Yue paused, then continued. "The formation of the chi spirits did not happen overnight, so the person controlling them is definitely not an ordinary power. At the very least, it has a long history. This kind of power must be very strong. I'll bring people back," Feng Zhixing said. "Master, why did you bring people over?" Sima Yue asked. "It's because there's news that this is the tomb of the emperor, and there's a divine medicine," Feng Zhixing said. Sima Yue's breathing tightened. The emperor would usually have a divine medicine. If this was really the tomb of the emperor, then his divine medicine should also be in the tomb. No wonder so many people ran over. This news was indeed very attractive. "This news is fake. I've walked around the entire tomb. This is not the tomb of the emperor." This meant that the divine medicine was fake. Who was the one who released the news? What was the purpose of doing so? You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.